Yes, good evening all. Very good evening. A few students are there in the offline mode, but majority are there in the online mode. So this is RB5, right? What are the other subjects you are done with? What happened? Didn't attend or what? What are the other subjects you done with? Polity is done. Very good. World history is also done. Complete world. Wow, super. Then? Modern India. Then? I require some of the important subjects. That's why I'm asking. Oh, geography is going on. Geography, how many classes are done? 1-5. 15th class is done. So you might be completing geomorphology. Climatology, you are there in the climatology. Okay, fine, I understand. So biology is done? Biology is done? Why I am asking this one? Sir, what are you, sir? You are asking something, sir, where we are unable to explain because we are not regular to the class. Is it the case or what? Now listen this one. Let us start the subject like this in a very innovative way. Where we are right now, we are on the planet Earth, fine? How the evolution has taken place? It is cell. What is a cell? Cell is a undivisible, the building block of the life, right? A group of cells forms what? Very good, it forms tissues. A group of tissues forms what? What they form? Online students, come on, please respond. You people are giving the answers. Biology is done, geography is done, very good. It forms organ, right? A group of organs forms what? Forms what? Very good. Forms organ system. When a group of organ systems like the reproductive system, like respiratory system, all they form what? Forms what? Organism. Fine. Nothing but an individual. It is we. This is we. Got the point? Who is this one? It is you. Got the point? This is what the individual. Now, from the individual, when a group of individuals are there, what we are calling this one as? It's called as? When a group of individuals are there, this is called as population, right? When a group of populations are there, it's called as group of population, meaning what? Group of same species is called as the population. When a group of different species like elephants, like camels, then hyenas, then lions, tigers, all they are put together is called as, this is called as community. This is called as community, fine. When a group of communities are there, along with the, just not the plants, not just animals, along with the air, the river, mountain, all the other things where they are put together, it's called as, let me put like this, still one more, we can add this one. This is called as ecosystem, where you can find not just the living organisms, also non-living organisms or non-living entities also there, like maybe a river, maybe a mountain, right? Whenever all they are put together, it's called as the biome, which is a larger biome. A group of biomes is called as biosphere. Where this biosphere is there? Our earth is a biosphere, right? Where is our earth? Is a part of planetary system. It's a part of one planet in among the other planets. How many planets are there? How many planets are there? As of now it is 8. Maybe in the future it may increase also. right? But as of now it is 8 planets, where it is called as the solar system. It is there in the Milky Way. Then Milky Way gives rise to, then so are there, then finally universe, right? This is the structure. Sir, why you are explaining all these things? Our topic is, what is our topic? Our topic is ecology and environment. Then why you are explaining all these things? Point number one. The other thing is you are asking about the other subjects. Why these questions? Come on, understand this one. What is this study about the cell, tissue, organ and all other things where up to this particular, right from this one till this is called as biology. This is what the biology is. Then the overlapping of the organism up to the biosphere is called as ecology. Could you see this overlapping? Could you see this overlapping? Without the understanding of this particular subject, the ecology, you cannot understand. There are certain terms, the basic terms, you need to have the understanding. That's why I ask you whether the subject biology is done or not. Got the point? This is what the structure is. Whenever you are talking about the very system where we are there on the surface and how we got developed, this is a structure. Right from a single cell where it got developed into a complex organism, and right now all the things are present in the universe. The overlapping here, see the overlapping here, right from this biosphere, this is what the planetary system and the solar system, this is called as geography. Therefore, our required subject, what is our required subject? This is the ecology and environment, which is a overlapping with the biology on one hand, on the other side it is geography. Got the point? You should be having the another subject idea or subject knowledge, like biology knowledge should be there, also the geographical knowledge should be there. Then only can understand the subject called as geography, ecology and environment. Is it clear? The first point. This is the structure. This very structure, right from organism, nothing but individual, till the biosphere, where it is called as the holism in ecology. It is called as holism in ecology. What is the subject where it is very important for the UPSC? Everyone is talking about the ecology and environment, where the questions are asked in a large number. Why so many questions are asked here in the UPSC? What makes the ecology so important? Why we need to study basically the ecology and environment? The basic question, why we need to study? What do you mean by ecology and environment? What is ecology and what is environment? Come on, explain. What is ecology and what is environment? Come on. What do you mean by ecology and what is environment? The subject is called as ecology and environment. It can be given as just ecology, just environment. But why they are using the two terms? One is ecology and one is environment. What is environment? What is ecology? Understanding the core part of the subject is very, very important. What is ecology and what is environment? Come on, give me rough definitions or explanation. What do you mean by ecology? Study of? Very good, too good. Ecology is nothing but the study of and interaction of the human with the environment. Too good. Then what is environment? What is ecology? The very definition is being given. What is the definition? The interaction, interdependencies between the life forms and non-life forms. Human with the other elements, nothing but the non-living elements. Fine. This is what the ecology. Wonderful. Then what is environment? What is environment? Why you need to give the subject name as ecology and environment? Which is larger? Environment is larger term or the ecology is a larger term? Sir, why this one, sir, all these things? The people here they are giving, yes, the physical space and the environment is the interaction among the components. Environment is everything that surrounds us, but ecology is study of interactions. Too good. Niharika. Wonderful answer. Kamlesh has given the right answer. Nitish Singh. Ecology means synergetic part of biology and geography. Wow. Synergetic part. Navigar. Ecology is a branch of biology. Wonderful. Ecology is interaction with the organism, with the environment. Environment is surroundings. Environment is nothing but where we live. Ecology interactions. Wonderful. Too good. So many answers are there. Ecology is larger. No. Environment is larger. No, ecology is larger again. Many of the answers are there. Environment is called biotic and abiotic. Now, after seeing so many explanations that are there, now let us talk about the syllabus that is given. After the syllabus, where we will be talking about the reference book, see the structure, how we will be going to, we will be explaining which is larger, whether it is ecology is the larger term or the environment is a larger term. What is the link between the ecology and environment? In this class, nothing but in the structure of the class. What we'll be discussing in the today's class, we'll be talking about the basic terms, how it is being defined, how this is defined, and what is the interlink between these two. What is the interlink? And what is the significance of this study? Without the significance, we are unable to understand why we are studying. Whenever you are talking about one particular subject, why you are studying geography? Sir, that is given in the UPSC syllabus, sir. Why you are studying for that matter history? Come and tell me now. Whenever you want to do some other jobs like software engineer, some other very powerful jobs where you can fly away from India, history is not required. Why in this subject, why in this what is called as the basic, the competitive exams, history is required? What is history for that matter? Since it is an interaction, means what? The first class, I am getting acquainted with you. You people, you are feeling so rigid and be very free. It's more an interaction. Come on, explain. Sir, we are being made a scapegoat, sir. All other people are online. The questions are not there for them. I am asking questions for both. In fact, they are responding on a great scale. Like, they are responding like anything. Ecology is study of environment. Ecology is a study of environment. Wonderful. Now tell me. Sorry, come again. A little bit louder, please.
So, just to have an idea about different fields, like
Okay, just to have an idea about different streams. That is why we are studying all these things in the UPSC, to gain experience, to understand the dynamics. If we know history, we can predict our future. Wow! History because of gives the lessons to the humankind to gain experience. Is it so? Is it so like this? History is such an important thing or what? Why UPSC is asking to study these core subjects? UPSC is the one very funniest thing. Like, it is giving the subjects like history, is asking us to read history, it is asking us to read economy, it is asking us to read polity, it is asking to read even geography. These are called as the 4 subjects, core subjects. Why? What is the need? Come on. Just very freely. Though the answers are wrong, just openly explain why we need to read history, economy, polity, geography. Then we will go to the ecology. Ecology definitely will be doing. It's not like we are skipping the ecology. To know about the human environment. Then history is required for the human environment or what? Okay, what type of changes were there in the society? Come on. Everyone is giving answer only for the history, but why polity?
Quality, because we need to understand how humans interacted with each other.
Huh? How humans interacted with each other. That is there even in the history.
But quality gives us the rules and regulations.
Polity gives the rules and regulations. Then geography?
Then geography gives us the interaction with the environment, with the earth, air,
Okay.
what climate, how
Why all these things are required?
few things help us to understand the present state of things.
Okay, these four things, if we study all these things, we can understand the present state of things. Now you are explaining something.
So we study quality to formulate policies which suit our society.
Okay. Simply understand this one. Everyone, whoever is starting the preparation for UPSC, every student, every aspirant is being given the advice like, come on, go through the syllabus, read history, read polity, read geography, read economy, read the newspaper. This is what the people are giving suggestions, right? What are all these things? What are all these things? Come on.
I think sir, geography we study because in present situation human are exploiting environment just
Very good.
own need. So sustain environment and human need, we have to understand geography.
Okay, then what, why about history? History is history.
Sir, I think so, sir, that in present situation, history play important role because history in India I think sir,
Hmm.
पास्ट अपना फ्यूचर को सेट करता है पीछे की जो चीजें हैं उसकी वजह से फ्यूचर प्रेडिक्ट
Absolutely. Absolutely. See here. Simply, in a very, very simpler terms, what UPSC is asking, understand the essence of UPSC. What UPSC is asking, it is asking to know your past. All the answers have been given by you, but in a bit by bit fashion. Okay. What is this one? All they are the past. This is a piece of land where we are living right now. On this very piece of land, when we were not here, some hundreds of years back, someone was there. What this guy did on this piece of land? Because of his actions, the present condition is something else. What UP is asking? Try to know your past. How the past can be known? Whenever you are studying the four concepts, four subjects. In fact, they are not the subjects, they are completely regarding the past. Who were there when you are not here? History. What type of rules they were following when you are not here? Polity. What type of climatic conditions, what type of food they used to eat? Geography. What type of taxes they used to collect, what type of rules and regulations they were framing? Economy. Right? This is completely regarding the past. Why to know the past whenever you want to do a software job that is not required, but whenever you want to become a leader, what is very important? This past is very, very important. Why this past is very important? To understand the present. Someone has given the right answer. Whoever understands the present, online people are also giving the same thing. That is the gateway to the past. Someone has given the answer like this. That is the gateway to the past. So many answers are there. So many. Wow. Okay. Whenever you understand the past, you can understand. Whenever you know the past, you can understand the present. All the people will be asking you to read the newspaper, especially the so-called editorial column. Normally what happens in the beginning of the preparation, you will be asked to read the editorial. The moment once you purchase the newspaper, you will be going to the middle of the paper and you will try to read. First day, wonderfully you will be reading. Nothing will be entering into mind. Still you will be reading. Right? This is what the experience. First day. Second day, again with a lot of interest, again we will be reading. Understand, we never understand. Still we will be reading. Third day, fourth day, 1 month. After 1 month what happens? We will be tearing the page, the editorial column, and we will be keeping aside. Thinking that I will be reading when I get the time, and never the time will be there. That will be keep on piling, and one fine day we will be selling those papers to one fellow. Why we didn't understand that editorial column? Because we didn't have good knowledge about these things. That's why you didn't understand. What are these things? They are the past. What is present? Present is the newspaper. When you need to read the newspaper, provided if you read the history NCERT books, provided if you read the economy NCERT books, provided you read the polity NCERT books, at least up to 12th class. From 6th class to 12th class. Whenever you read all these books right from the 6th class to 12th class, then only you can understand the newspaper. Till that point of time, you are unable to understand. Once you understand the past, you can analyze the present. Oh, this is what is happening right now because of that particular scenario. What the point? If that particular scenario has not happened there, today this would have been not the case. This is how you can correlate. Whoever understand the past, whoever understand the present, they are the people who can predict the future. Whoever can predict the future in a perfect way, UPSC will be giving a very great position for them. Where is UPSC? UPSC will be giving a very great position. Whoever can predict the future. This is what the requirement of the UPSC. Simply, in a very, very small nutshell, what you need to do, first of all, you need to go through all these 4 subjects. After understanding all the 4 core subjects, then only you need to read the newspaper. Until then, you are simply in a position, you are unable to understand the present. What are these 4? They are nothing but your past. Whenever you are not here, someone was there. Who is that someone? What happened to that particular scenario and what happened to that particular place? Because of his impact, what is the present scenario? Got the point? Maybe you may be reading the very important article like when it comes to ecology, like what you need. Let me give you an example, then you can understand very easily. What is a very important example? Like say for example, let me take the case of it's not ecology, let us go for beyond ecology. Take the case of, yes, maybe a very controversial thing like construction of the Ram temple. Why the construction of Ram temple? Every time in our areas, in our local areas, the people will be coming and they will be collecting some funds and the construction of the temples happens. But why this particular temple is the one which is very controversial? Because something is there in the past. If you know the past, now you can understand the present condition. If you don't know the past, simply you are unable to understand the condition. Got the point? This is the past. If you know the past, then only you can understand the present. When you will be understanding the newspaper, everyone will be talking about how to read the newspaper. No one will be asking you or no one will be explaining you when to read the newspaper. When to read the newspaper, provided if you complete these things, then only you can understand the newspaper. Once you understand the present, it is the one can predict the future. This is a very simple statement regarding the UPSC preparation. Then what is our subject? Our subject, ecology and environment, is a derivative of the 2 subjects. One biology and the one is geography. It's an overlapping part of both geography and biology. Why it is called as overlapping part? The best example, again see the example, like whenever you are talking about the ecology, there are certain functions of ecosystem like food chain, food web, food pyramid. In that one, you will be coming across certain food chain, nothing but the food is being transferred from the plants to the animals. Food is transferred from the plants to the animals. How the food is being transferred? Who is the one who is preparing the food? It is the plants, where they are called as autotrophs. Auto means what? Self-preparatory. Food is being self-prepared. When they prepare the food is being consumed. They are forcibly taking the food from the plants. Who is the one who is constructing or the material is being collected and they are preparing the food? It is the one. Very poor creatures, whenever they are taking all the elements from the nature and they are providing the food, these are the one, they are coming and they are snatching the food away. This is what is happening. But how they are manufacturing the food, producing the food? Because of the other elements which is called as photoenergy. Since the energy cannot be created nor destroyed, the photoenergy is converted into other form. What is that energy? The photoenergy converts into chemical energy. Whenever the chemical energy is stored in the plants, that chemical energy is being absorbed by the animals. This is one structure of the food chain. This is the food chain. Whenever you are seeing the same type of food chain in the oceans, there are certain small living organisms called as Algae. The so-called blue-green algae. What is the other name? That is what asked in the UPSC, like 2021 prelims. Blue-green algae. What is the other name? The question that was asked in the food chain, in the oceans, which is the basic creature that is producing the food. Very good. It's called as the cyanobacteria. It's called as the cyanobacteria, which is having the capacity to produce the food material. Where all these things will come? Algae, then cyanobacteria, and all these things. Where it can come? In the biology. If you don't know that particular things, again, it's very difficult for me to explain. Also, whenever you are talking about the geography, why geography is very, very important? In order to understand the ecology, geography is very important. Why? Because whenever you are talking about the national parks, the rivers, especially the Indian geography, which part of geography is very, very important? Both the world as well as the India. When it comes to the Indian ecological systems, then we need to talk more about the Indian geography. Like some of the rivers are passing through some of the important protected areas. Like, which is the important national park of India? Which is the first national park of India? What is a national park? National park is a protected area. Which is the first national park? Called as Jim Corbett National Park. Where it is located? Uttarakhand. Everyone knows this one. Now the question. Earlier the question was, where is Jim Corbett National Park, which happens to be the first national park of India? Then the answer will be written like Uttarakhand. Without any hesitation, he will be giving the answer Uttarakhand. Now the question, Jim Corbett is a national park which is located in Uttarakhand. Whatever the information we know, that is given as a question itself. Right? Jim Corbett is the first national park of India which is located in the Uttarakhand, through which river is passing through? Which river is passing? With lot of difficult, with lot of pain, we learned Jim Corbett, we learned Uttarakhand, we learned that is the first national park. Now the question is asked in a different way. Who knows which national park, which river is passing through? Kaziranga National Park, which is located in Assam. That is what we know. That is given as a question. Through which the river, one mighty river is passing, where the one-horned rhinoceros are there. We know one-horned rhinoceros, we know Kaziranga, we know Assam. But we don't know that particular river. What is the name of the river? If the questions are asked like this, for that, geography is important. Also, the important sites, like Ramsar sites. What is Ramsar? Ramsar is a city in Iran where the meeting was conducted for the protection of wetlands. There is a very, very important wetland in India called as the Kabul-Lamzo wetland. Where is this Kabul-Lamzo wetland? If you read the drainage patterns in the geography, then you can understand the so-called Kabul-Lamzo. Where is this one, Kabul-Lamzo? Very good. The Kabul-Lamzo National Park is located in the Manipur. How the lake has formed? The lake has formed because of the water that is coming from all the surrounding areas. Whenever the water which is coming from all the surrounding areas, means what? The forces are acting towards the center, where it is called as centripetal. It is called as the centripetal drainage pattern. And the water got accumulated to form a lake. When the water is there as a stagnant water in one locality, what we are calling this one as? Lake. That is what the Kabul-Lamzo. What is the importance of this Kabul-Lamzo? What is the importance of the Kabul-Lamzo? That is what will be discussed in the ecology. See the link. First biology, then again geography. If at all you are having that knowledge, then we can derive to the ecology environment. Let me put the same concept in another way, so that you can understand the importance of the parent subjects. All you people know that temperature, that is a part of geography, which will be keep on increasing, decreasing from equatorial region to the polar region. Right? What are equatorial regions? Nothing but 0 degree latitude is the equatorial region. If this is the globe, this is equator, this is the polar region. What happens to the temperature whenever you are moving from equatorial region to the polar region? Temperature decreases. What happens to the ecological productivity? What happens to the ecological productivity? What happens to the ecological productivity? The ecological productivity will be keep on reducing. Meaning what? See the population. Forget about the ecological productivity. See the population of people, human population. Where do you find very great population? In the tropical areas, subtropical areas. As and when you are moving above towards the polar region, what happens to the population? Keep on reducing. See the countries that are there in the polar and the subpolar region. There are certain countries called as Scandinavian countries, the so-called Norway, Sweden, Finland. These are the countries, right? Scandinavian countries. What is the concept there? Do you know? If a couple gives birth for one child in the Scandinavian countries, the government will be giving one increment, extra increment. Job is for sure for these people. Whoever, entire education is free, and the job is also very sure for the people of the Scandinavian countries. When the people are working, both the parents are working, the kids' responsibility is the responsibility of the government. Once the parents gives the birth for the young child, the people will be given one increment. Two child, 2-3 increments, very great increments will be given. When the couple gives birth for the third child, that fellow will be treated as king. This is the case of upper latitudinal countries. Whereas in India, increment cut, ration cut, political entry cut, if at all you are having more than 2 kids, right? Why it is like this? See the connectivity. What is the one that is happening here? The temperatures are more, productivities are more. Here, temperatures are less, productivity is less. What will be discussed in the ecology environment? We will be discussing the productivity. What will be discussed in the ecology environment? Productivity, ecological productivity. If you don't know about the temperature, unable to understand. Got the point? There are certain rules, laws given in the ecology. There was a wonderful guy called as Bergsman. Bergman apostrophe S, Bergsman rule. What the Bergsman rule says? The Bergsman rule says that people who are living close to the equatorial region has to be in the dark complexion. The skin complexion should be dark. This is what he has given. Whoever is living far away from the equatorial region, they have to be fair in complexion. Who will be deciding the type of the people living in that different localities? It is the geographical conditions, nothing but the climatic conditions. Got the point? This is the importance of the parent subjects. Having understood these parent subjects, without going much about this importance of the parent subjects, let us talk about very good. Okay. Let us talk about our ecology and environment. Let us come to the syllabus of this ecology and environment. Ecology and environment. Having understood the importance of the parent subjects, now I am coming to the ecology and environment. What are the contents that are being prescribed as a syllabus in the ecology and environment? The entire syllabus of UPSC in the both prelims as well as the mains was divided into 4 modules. All these 4 modules were given as a handouts for you, not handouts, what is called as the printed material for you while you are taking the admission. How many books are given? Ecology, Environment 1, Environment 2, Environment 3. 3 books are given to you, right? All you people got the material, right? That material, where in that material, we will be strictly following that material only. We are not going to deviate that one. We are going to follow the same material and believe that that is more than sufficient than any other material available in the market. Don't go to any other material. Strictly follow this material and along with the class notes. Fine? Now, see this one. What are the contents which are given as a syllabus in the UPSC which covers both the prelims as well as the mains? There are all the entire content was divided into 4 modules. One is called as, the first and foremost is called as ecology. The content regarding the ecological studies. Then the second one is called as biodiversity. The third one, which is very, very important one, global warming and climate change. The fourth very important module, where it is called as the environmental pollution and environmental legislations. Legislations that are present there means what? Policies, programs. These are the four modules where we will be going through. In the coming next maybe 11 classes remaining, in the coming 11 classes we will be completing all the concepts. The first one, ecology. The next one, biodiversity. The third one, global warming and the climate change. The last one is the pollution and the environmental related policies, programs and all these things. What are the institutions in India that are talking about? What are the institutions of the world? All these things, like even if we talk about the boards that are there, like Central Pollution Control Board, State Pollution Control Board, all they will be discussed here. Now let us see what are the contents that are there within the ecology. First and foremost one, the significance of ecology. What are the contents we will be discussing? We will be talking about the significance. For what the ecological studies are very important. If the ecological studies are not there, we are unable to bring the very important solutions for the problems that are faced by the humanity right now. What is the biggest problem that the society is facing right now is the environmental polluted related things. Environmental polluted related things. Like say for example, I will give you one best example. When the developments are happening, I am taking the live case. Okay, when the developments are happening all over the world, and so India wants more and more economic development. For the economic development, energy security is important. What do you mean by energy? That needs to be brought from somewhere. What is the energy right now we are finding? This is a fossil energy, fossil fuel energy. Unfortunately, in India, the fossil fuel energy is not available on a great scale. We need to import oil and the natural gas from somewhere. In the process of importing the oil and the natural gas from the West Asia, majority of the times the oil gets spills. Whenever the oil spills over the ocean bodies, also in the refineries, both the water body as well as the soil is getting polluted. That particular soil is not at all useful for again in the future. That water again, it is killing so many marine species. What was the solution? The people started using all the chemicals, the people started using cleaning the water in a very different fashion, where the people started cleaning the water and the soil by applying more and more chemicals, by using more and more synthetic material. Because of using more and more chemicals, the problem got solved, like the water got purified, but because of using more chemicals, some other negative impact is there, like it affects the marine life. It started affecting some other properties of the water. Therefore, they want a permanent solution. They want a amicable solution. They want a green solution. What do you mean by green solution? Which is very eco-friendly. Therefore, the ecological scientists, they came up with the answers. How the oil can be consumed without affecting the ecosystem in that locality. They developed certain bacteria. They have identified the bacteria. There are 5 bacteria identified by the ecologist. Who will be discovering all these things? It is the ecologist. The ecologist discovered that for some creatures, the food is the oil. They have selected all those bacteria, and all those bacteria are brought and thrown on the water. When all the bacteria was thrown on the water, what is the food for the bacteria? For this specific bacteria, oil. Therefore, the bacteria started consuming the oil sludge. When the bacteria consumed the oil sludge, naturally the water became clean. Is there any negative effect? Is there any ill effect? No. This is how the biological solutions are being brought by the ecologist. without affecting the nature, with the minimum use of the chemicals, or sometimes without using the chemicals at all, where the biological solutions are being brought. Such a biological solutions are the need of the hour right now. Who will be giving all these solutions? It is the ecological scientist. The name of that particular bacteria, where the 5 bacteria clubbed together and was thrown into the water, where it is called as the oil zappers. They are called as the oil zappers. Question in the UPSC will be asked like, what are oil zappers? The question will be given like, what are oil zappers? Oil zappers in the recent past has been seen in the news many times. It is related to ABCD. If you know the entire concept, what is happening, why the water body is getting polluted, because of more and more chemicals, whenever more and more chemicals are added, definitely water may be purified, but that very chemicals are bringing some other negative impact, where it is called as eutrophication. There is another very important process called as eutrophication, like whenever you are adding more and more chemicals. The best example, the chemical fertilizers. Whenever using the more and more chemical fertilizers on the agriculture field, because of rainfall, all these chemical fertilizers mixes up into the nearby water body. When they go and mixes up into the water body, there is a growth of unwanted species, where it is called as the algal bloom, which creates the another very important word called as eutrophication. For all these impacts, what is the solution? Biological, what is called as the biological solution is the answer. What is the biological solution? Whenever in the nature, the naturally available species are consuming these things and cleaning the entire environment, that is the answer. It's called as bioremedification. Right, could understand? Bioremedy. What is remedy? Remedy solution. What type of remedy? Natural remedy. Whenever there is a natural remedy, definitely you will be getting all the sustainable development. What is sustainable development? Without compromising the needs of the future, we need to solve our problems right now. What's the point? This is what called as the biological solutions. Who will be bringing the biological solutions again? It is the ecologist. If the ecologists are there, then only they can bring the biological solution. If the ecologists are not there, they are simply the people, other scientists, they will be giving the other solutions. Therefore, the ecological studies are having very, very great significance in the present context. Yesterday, our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, was there in the COP26, right? And he was talking about Panchamritas. Did you came across? Did you read the newspaper? When you will be reading the newspaper, whenever you understand that one. When you can understand, provided if you do that homework. What is the homework? Knowing the past. What is the past? 4 subjects. First of all, read that one, then understand the newspaper, then only can understand the other things. Like yesterday he was talking about the Panchamritas. What are Panchamritas? He is talking about the 5 principles, where by 2030, we are going to become the net carbon zero emitters. Zero emissions. What do you mean by zero emissions? That means what? We are going to shut down all the factories or what? What do you mean by zero emission? There won't be any carbon emitted from our India. This is what the one he is talking about. Also he is talking about 50% of the energy mix is from the non-conventional fuel. What do you mean by non-conventional fuel? The fuel that is energy that is coming from non-conventional, like not the fossil fuels, from the sun, from the wind, from the tidal, from the geothermal, where the needs of the energy needs 50% we are going to use from the non-conventional source. Means what? Even after 2030 we will be consuming the coal. That is what the meaning. Another 50% is from the conventional. What is that conventional? From the coal, from the fossil fuels like oil, crude oil, natural gas. Fine. This is what the things where we are, around 2070. 2030 we will be completing what is called as 50% of the non-conventional energy. By 2070, the net zero emissions will be there. Okay. This is what the condition that is given by the government of India. We kept 5 very important conditions before the world countries, that we are going to perform all these things within the forthcoming years. Though our population accounts for almost 17 to 18% of the world population, our responsibility is just 5% regarding the climate change. Yet we are doing more work. This is what shown by our Prime Minister in the COP26. Got the point? All these things you should be well aware of. Now, after this significance, the next one, approach to the ecology. The next one, after this significance, we need to talk about the approaches to the ecology. There are very two important approaches. One is called as art ecology, and another one is called as synecological approach. What are the different approaches like art ecology, synecology? What do you mean by art ecology? What is synecology? These are the two very important approaches that are there in the ecological studies. Art ecology simply talks about how an individual species is adapting itself to the surroundings. The best example, in geography you might have come across the coniferous forest, right? What do you mean by coniferous forest? What is coniferous forest? The forest which is in the form of a cone. All the trees that are present in that region should be in a cone-like structure. Whenever you are seeing the trees in India, the trees in India are like this. The canopy, this is called as the canopy. What is canopy? The crown of the tree is called as canopy. This is what the canopy. This is a structure that is found in India. Can you find such type of trees here in the Great Northern Plains or in the Deccan Plateau? No. Where do you find such type of trees? In the mountainous areas. Why? Because of temperature. Low temperature. Because of low temperature, just imagine, we people also, whenever it is very, very cold condition, how you people will be moving? You will be keeping your arm, all the arms far away from the body? No. We will be walking like this, or we will be keeping our hands in the pockets. We don't want to stretch our body, nothing but the limbs far away from the body. Why we will be bringing all our limbs close to our body? In order to preserve the heat, right? On the same lines, even the tree, see this tree? Here, there is no need to preserve the heat as such the areas are having very high temperature. The tree will be stretching the branches far away like this. Therefore, canopy is very, very rich. Where? In the high temperature regions. This is the condition. Whereas in the low temperature regions, all the branches of the tree are close to the stem like this. Why the branches are close to the stem? In order to preserve the heat. The tree doesn't want to lose the heat. Therefore, it will be bringing all the limbs close to its stem. Sir, then why it is like this? Like, the tree can be like this also. Why it has to be cone? Because in the low temperature regions, whenever the precipitation happens, what type of precipitation will be there? It will be in a snowfall. Whenever it is snowfall, what happens? The snow gets accumulates here. The tree cannot. It doesn't want to see the snow resting on the tree. Therefore, whatever the snowfall is there, the snow has to roll down and it has to fall down. That's why the process called as adaptation. This is what the process of adaptation. Who is performing? One individual. This is what the art ecology talks about. This is what the art ecology. We will be talking about many such adaptations. These are the things that were asked as a question in the UPSC 2021. What is a very important question? If I put the question like this, which are the animals which tries to roll down to save from the predators as a defense mechanism? Do you know this one? Have you ever seen any animal? It will be elongated. The moment you go and touch, it will be rolling down. Have you ever seen such type of small animals where it rolls down? Kiwis also then? Have you ever seen leeches? Leeches also shrink. Normally it will be elongated. If you touch, it will be shrinking. Then also some other animals where it will be rounding up, they rolls up so that they can avoid the predators. This is a defense mechanism. Who has developed this one? Who has taught all those things? The nature. The nature has taught all these things to the species. The question that was asked in the UPSC 2021 was like this. Which of the following animals rolls up as a defense mechanism to avoid the consumption of these species from the predators? Pangolin, they have given the animal like pangolin. What is a pangolin? See, these are all the common things where they are very much visible in our day-to-day society. No need to prepare exclusively for all these things. These are the common questions that are asked. When you can understand this one, whenever you are talking about the approaches, the approach is called as synecology. There are species which are mutually interacting. All the species are mutually interacting for the survival. If these interactions are not there, the survivability is not there. What do you mean by mutual interaction? There are certain interactions which are called as the different types of interactions like plus-plus interaction, plus-minus interaction, plus zero interaction, minus zero interaction, then minus interaction. Sir, I didn't understand anything, sir. What do you mean by plus interaction? In this type of interaction, both the species will be keep on mutually benefiting. One animal will be depending upon other animal, and this animal also depends upon the other animal. Both they are benefiting each other. The best example in geography, you might have come across the very important region called as the coral reefs. What are coral reefs? Which are constructed by a small bodied animals called as coral polyps. Right? Coral polyps and the other very important species called as zooxanthellae. What is zooxanthellae? It's a algae. The other, just now we are talking about the cyanobacter, the blue-green algae. The best example is zooxanthellae. The zooxanthellae and the polyp, they are having a symbiotic relation. Both they are mutually benefiting each other. In the case of tiger and the deer, what type of interaction is tiger and deer's interaction? In the case of tiger and deer, what type of interaction is there? One is benefited, another one is losing its life, right? When we are eating food from the, whenever you are cutting the paddy and you are consuming the rice, what type of interaction? One species is negatively impacted. On the same lines, whenever the deer is consuming the grass, what type of interaction? Plus, minus. All the interactions are mutually interdependent. If one species needs to benefit, the other species is affected. In some of the interactions, the species is neither benefited, but other species will be benefited. This is neither benefited nor harmed, but other species is benefited. What are the terms that are related to all these interactions? All these interactions are having unique terms where we'll be explaining each and every term. They are very, very important. That's why our class notes is very important. Whatever the explanation we are going to give for all these things, all they are very, very important. There is a concept called as amensalism. There is a concept called as commensalism. What is amensalism? What is commensalism? All we will be talking about these processes in the interactions. What type of interactions? Synecological interactions. Fine? This is another approach. This is the second topic where we will be discussing about the approaches in ecology, autoecology and the synecology. Also, the very next important one, the third one, let us talk about the third one within the ecology, is called as ecosystem. The ecosystem. What is a system? What do you mean by system? Many times you will be calling your laptop as also a system, right? You people are using the words very easily, like system. The laptop is called a system, right? The computer is called a system. But what is the literal meaning of the system? Combination of application. Okay, the relation between the environment and the living world. Okay, very good. Okay, What is a system? System is such a mechanism where there must be input, the input get processed, and there is output. That's why we are calling this computer as a system, because you are giving some input. What's the point? It gets processed, and then the output is there. That's why respiratory system, digestive system, everything is called a system. On the same lines, there is a system called as ecosystem, which is otherwise called as ecological system, where the input is there, the input get processed, and then the output is there. Whenever the deer population, or else let us explain like this. Whenever the grass population is keep on increasing, when the grass is increasing, what happens? It will be impacting the other population. Which population? When the forest, when the grass is keep on increasing, it facilitates the population of deers. When the deer population is increasing, then what happens? Automatically, it will be having an impact on the tiger population. Got the point? When more number of deers are there, definitely the tiger will be having ample food, the tiger population also increases. When the tiger population increases, it affects again deer population at one point, where it will be consumed, keep on consuming the tiger population. Then the deer population decreases. When the deer population decreases, what happens to the tiger population? What happens to the grass population? Grass increases because tiger cannot consume grass. What happens to the tiger population? Decreases again. When the grass again keep on increasing, again deer population grows. This is what called as the dynamic equilibrium that is present in the ecosystem. Got the point? At one point, one population is on a rise. Because of rising the population of this one particular species, the other species will be slowly rising. Because of rising of this population, the other species will be impacted. Like in our case, grass, deer, and the tiger. When the apex species increases in number, the middle species get reduces in number because of consumption. When it get reduces, again automatically it get decreases, the tiger population decreases. On the other hand, the grass population again increases. Because of increasing this one, again this will be growing. Now the tiger population less, therefore it is growing. Such type of equilibrium is present in the nature, where this is equilibrium is called as the dynamic equilibrium. Why it is called as dynamic equilibrium? Every time there is some level, the equilibrium is taking place. That is what called as homeostasis. A very, very important concept called as the homeostasis is the one which is maintained by the ecosystem. If this homeostasis is not maintained by the ecosystem, the life, the earth planet, the earth as a planet would have not got so much of biodiversity. Clear? This is where we will be discussing. Then we will be coming across to, you people are well aware of the things like food chain, food web, food pyramids, the ecological succession. All these things will be dealt here. Finally, we will be coming to what is called as the biogeochemical cycles. This is where the question was asked again in the 2021. What are these biogeochemical cycles? There are certain cycles that are present on the planet. The best example, water cycle, which is otherwise called as hydrological cycle. What is happening? The clouds are giving the rainfall, right? Because of the rain, the rivers are there. Where the rivers are the fresh water, therefore we are consuming all the water and the trees are growing. The human is using the water like anything. After flowing of all the rivers on the surface, again they will be draining into the ocean. Once they drain into the ocean, they turn into saline water. Again, because of the solar insolation, the evaporation takes place. Cloud swarm, again the clouds will be giving the rainfall. This is the mechanism that is happening. Cycle, where such type of the study about those cycles is called as bio, geo. What is bio? Life. Geo, non-life, nothing but the earth related. Cycles are happening. In fact, we are the one, the product of three very important spheres. What do you mean by we? Nothing but the life. The life is a product of three very important spheres. What are the three important spheres? One is Had the rocks are not there, there is no life. Do you know this one? We people feel like, the rock is the one which is a waste product, and if rock is there, we'll be throwing or we'll be hitting the rock and we'll be going. If the rock is not there, there is no life. This is the lithosphere. Sir, what is this one, sir? The rocks are so important or what? I'll give one best example. In the year 2014-15, in the year 2014-15, 14 and 15, the NASA scientist, what is NASA? What is NASA? What is ISRO? ISRO is the Space Agency of India, right? What is NASA then? Oh my God, it's not international. It's the American Space Agency, North American, okay? It's American Space Agency, okay? It's called as NASA, fine. Day in, day out, these people, the NASA people are trying to find the similar planet which is very similar to that of the Earth. In that process, in the year 2014 or 15 somewhere, they discovered one planet. They named this planet as 55 Cancri E. All you might be knowing the Goldilocks zone. You know the Goldilocks zone? What is the zone? Where the sun and the planet, wherever the habitat can be there, that is called as Goldilocks zone. Whatever the Goldilocks zone that is there for the Earth, same structure for that particular sun, for this planet is the one which is located in the Goldilocks zone, 55 Cancri. Therefore, the people started celebrating. When the people started celebrating, saying that we discovered the new Earth, if something happens on this Earth, we can go there. This is what NASA people, they want to study more about the 55 Cancri. When they discovered this one in the 2014, then they started doing certain research. When they started doing research, what they came to know that this particular planet is not made of rock. It's not a terrestrial planet. The complete planet is made up of diamond. Just imagine. Even you can see in the Google. Not now. Don't open the Google right now. Okay. After going home, type 55 Cancri E and check the Google, check the diamond planet. Entire planet is made up of diamond. Just like whatever we are finding the rocks everywhere, on the same lines, the entire planet is made up of diamond. Just imagine, diamond for us is a very valuable mineral, but whereas the further planet, it is not the one. The entire planet is made up of diamond. Clear? When the scientists came to know that this is a diamond planet, the research on the planet was stopped. Why they abandoned the research? Because they don't want diamonds. Diamond cannot give the life. It may give some pleasure, but it cannot give the life. Therefore, they stopped the research. This is what the importance of the rock. Rock is the one which is very, very essential for the formation of the life. If the rock is not there, there is no life. Which is called as lithosphere. Lithosphere. The rock. What is the literal meaning of lith? Lith means what? Rock. Then the gas sphere, nothing but atmosphere. Then the water sphere, nothing but hydrosphere. Got the one? Now, what is this sphere? All you people are well aware. It's called as biosphere. Everyone will be knowing this particular picture. But what is the meaning? Understand this one. The biosphere is a sensitive part which is a combination of rocks, gases and the water. If any changes that happen in the water or in the gas composition or in the rocky material, the life will be perished here. The life will not be there. It is a combination of some of the matter is there from the water. Our body is made up of 70% of water, right? Our body requires the gases. Our body is a product of lith material. With what material we are made up of? All we are carbon compounds. Do you know this one? Sir, what is this one, sir? All we are carbon or what? I will give one best example. If at all you are inhaling the air and you are exhaling the air. The air that is being breathed in, what went in? Oxygen. What came out? Carbon dioxide. How comes that got converted into carbon dioxide? Is there any carbon factory in us or what? How it got converted into carbon dioxide? Huh? Burning of cells. Through respiration. What if we respire? Should be releasing the carbon or what? What is carbon? Black material? Are we made up of carbon or what? Entire our body, entire life is made up of the carbon. You know this one, we are all the carbon compounds. That's why whatever is taken in, whenever you are releasing, what is released? The carbon is released. Sir, are we made up of carbon? I am unable to understand, sir. Really, are we made up of carbon? I want to see carbon, sir. Come and rub yourself. You rub yourself. What that product that will be coming out? Carbon. Have you ever seen the carbon coming out of your body? That is a carbon compound. All we are the carbon compounds. This is the one where the element that is being given out by the rocky material to us. With this, the life has formed. Got the point? This is what the life is. Once the life dies, any species for that matter, plant species, animal species, for that matter any species, the human, the moment once we die, what happens? Once we die, what happens? The material which was contributed to form the life from the sphere, from the rock sphere, the material which contributed to form life from the gas sphere, the material that has contributed to form the life from the water sphere will take back their respective products. When it takes back the respective products, you will be there within the nature. In the form of non-life forms. You will turn, the body turns into the rocky material, the gas enters into the atmospheric gases, the water gets mixes into the water body. Got the point? If we escape decomposition, if the living organism escapes decomposition, what happens? What happens if the living organism escapes decomposition? All the body get decomposes whenever the animal dies, plant dies, which is a life form. What is a life form? There are two life forms. One is plant life, one is animal life. We comes under animal life. We are big animals. Do you know this one? Don't accept? Yes, we come under the animals. The moment once the plant life or the animal life dies, what happens? The decomposition takes place. Suppose if we escape decomposition. If we escape decomposition, what happens? If we escape decomposition, meaning what? If the plant dies and escapes decomposition, huh? It turns into pollution. This is what the fossil fuel. Do you understand? Whenever the plants which are present here, where they are carbon compounds, whenever they die and get trapped in the inner layers, deep in the inner layers where the decomposers are not there, the decomposers like bacteria, when they are unable to consume, it will be left as it is. When it is left as it is, what it turns into? It turns into coal. Coal is having the energy. From where the energy came from? When this plant was there, some millions of years back, this plant has trapped the photo energy. Since the energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but can be converted in other form, what is the other form? The coal form. When you bring the coal, when you ignite, the coal will be giving the energy. What is that energy? Heat energy. Got the one? Therefore, this is what called as organic product. What is organic? Nothing but the life form. This is what the fuel? Fossil fuel. From where it came from? It is the life form, which is a product of all three spheres. On the same lines, crude oil. What is the crude oil? Is the product of crude oil and the natural gas products of animals. Animals are the one where they are giving the oil and the natural gas. Got the point? This is the biogeochemical cycles. What are these chemical cycles? There is a perfect cycling of the material from the different layers different spheres into the biosphere. And when the biosphere, when the bio dies, nothing but when the life dies, decomposition takes place. What do you mean by decomposition? Nothing but taking back of the respective elements back into the nature. This is what is happening in a cyclic form called as biogeochemical cycles. These are the things that are related to what is called as the ecology. This is where we'll be talking about the ecological sciences. Likewise, you will be coming across biodiversity. What do you mean by biodiversity? What are the different life forms you can find? What are the values of the biodiversity? How the biodiversity is under constant threat? How to conserve the biodiversity? All these are the concepts that comes under the biodiversity. But what is the basic question is, what do you mean by biodiversity? Biological diversity. What do you mean by biodiversity? What is biodiversity? Come on. There was a wonderful question raised by one of the some of the students, way back when I was dealing this ecology environment. Sir, all the India is having so much of population, everyone is dying. At one point or the other point, everyone has to die. Let there be a pool of dead bodies. Let there be a pool of dead bodies. Instead of having burial ground for each and every village, for each and every city, let there be a pool of burial ground. Let you bring all the human, wherever they die, let you collect the body, bring the body to one particular place, store them. Maybe after hundreds of years, they turn into oil, then India will be rich in oil. This was the explanation given by one of the guy. Okay, but it takes some millions of years, not just hundreds of years for conversion. Definitely it will be converted into oil, no doubt in that one, but it takes some millions of years. Okay, this is what the one. What do you mean by biodiversity? Come on, diversity of life on earth. Very good. Diversity in life, collection of biotic components. Diversity of life on earth, diversity, everyone is talking about the diversity. What do you mean by diversity? Nothing but, okay, what do you mean by the biodiversity? The varieties of life form. The varieties of life forms. See, we people, whenever we are living on this earth, we want different varieties. We are not satisfied with one variety. We want different varieties. What is this variety, sir? I didn't understand. The variety in the food products like paddy is there. When only paddy is there, everyone has to eat only rice item. Now the diversity is there, the new species. The another species is also there, wheat is also there. Not as wheat is there, jawar is there, maize is there. Then you can find some other product, millets, other millet, ragi. Right? Varieties of life forms. When varieties of life forms are there, the species, what we call this one as the diversity in the food grains. This is what the diversity. Got the point? Suppose if the diversity is not there, if the diversity is not there, when the diversity is not there, what would happen? All the people has to depend upon only one particular species. Maybe wheat. Everyone has to wheat. Let there be only one species and let we depend upon this one. But something happens to that one. If a bacteria attacks, maybe a pest attack. When the pest attacks takes place and the entire wheat material destroys, then what happens? The people are left with no food. The diversity is the one which is making the life so beautiful here on the surface. Having varieties of life form is the one which is the basic essential element for the survival of the life here. Where do you find rich biodiversity on the surface of the earth? Where do you find rich biodiversity on the surface of the world? It is the tropical rainforest. In the rainforest, in the case of continents, in the case of oceans, it is the coral reefs. These are the two areas where you can find the rich biodiversity. That is what the importance of the biodiversity. Biodiversity has got different values, like medicinal values. Some of the plants are giving the medicines. Some of the plants are giving the fruits. Some of the plants are giving the flowers, right? Rose flower, lily flower. There are so many varieties of flowers. If the diversity is not there, we will be left with only one flower. Clear? This is what the diversity. And within the diversity also different types of diversities. What are the different types of diversity? There is a diversity called as genetical diversity. What is this genetical diversity? The difference at the gene level is called as genetical diversity. Meaning what? Whenever you are taking the case of one species called as rice, the so-called paddy. Within the paddy, you can find different varieties like basmati, like Sona Masuri, like the larger, the bulgy rice, the Kerala rice, Odisha rice. Different varieties of rices are there, right? All they are called as paddy, but they are different varieties. This is what called as the makeup at the gene level. When I give the example of the paddy, where you people are not that much interested, but if I give the example of the human, then you can understand. What are the two species that are there in the humans? One is the male and the female. Because of genetical diversity only, each and every person is unique. No two persons are identical. If this genetical makeup is not there, if this genetical diversity is not there, what would have happened? Do you know this one? All the male of the entire world will be all one alike. All the female will be one alike. Just imagine, some crores of female, all they are one. Crores of male, all one. Can you find a structure called as family? There won't be any family structure. See, it's because of the diversity. Could you understand the importance of the diversity? The diversity is very, very important. Without this diversity, the life cannot flourish on a great scale on the surface of the earth. The diversity is the one which is very, very important. This is called as the biodiversity. This is a simple introduction for the biodiversity. There are different measures of diversity. How to measure the diversity? Alpha, beta, gamma, all these things we'll be discussing this one. Then, also in the biodiversity, the very important topic here is some of the important conventions. There are certain conventions, nothing but the conferences between the countries. How to go for protection of this biodiversity, announcing of the areas as a mega biodiverse countries, announcing the areas as the protected areas like national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, biosphere reserves. In India, there are 12 biosphere reserves are there. Altogether 18 biosphere reserves are there. 12 are identified by the UNESCO. What are those spheres? The biological spheres, what is the importance? The questions can be asked on this one. At the same time, there are certain species which are being protected by the international community, where there is a book called as Red Data Book. The name of the organization called as International Union for Conservation of the Nature. All we will be discussing here in this one. Also, there are certain other protected areas like community reserves, conservation reserves. What is a community reserve? What is a conservation reserve? What is a national park? What is a wildlife sanctuary? What are the biosphere reserves? All they will be discussed here in the biodiversity. Then comes the next very important one called as what is called as okay, very good. Then the global warming and the climate change. That is the current very, very great burning topic. Every country is talking about the global warming. Many of the countries are feeling the heat of the global warming. Within this global warming, because of global warming, the climate change is happening, where the sea levels are rising. Because of this one, land is submerging. Because of land submergence, some of the species are getting extinct. There is an important species called as K. melomins. We'll come across all these things in the climate change and all these things. Okay. There are certain small rodent. Rodent means what? Some of the rat-like species off the coast of Australia. In the Great Barrier Reef of the coast of Australia, you'll find some of the, see if this is Australia, this is what called as the Great Barrier Reef. Right. This is a Great Barrier Reef. This is located here. In this one of the island of the Great Barrier Reef, what was discovered recently, one of the rodent, which is a rat-shaped species, Because of rise of the sea level, the animal got extinct. The Australian government reported this one as the first animal which got extinct because of the climate change. When such a first animal, first mammal is given by one of the very important country, then it will be a question in the UPSC. UPSC will be catching hold of such important points. What is that species which got extinct because of the climate change induced by the man? It's called as the camelomenes. We'll be coming across all these things, okay? Such developments, all the things that needs to be discussed here in the climate change. Then within the climate change, we are going to study what is called as the very important conventions. Very important conventions, protocols. You might have heard about the Kyoto Protocol. You might have heard about the Montreal Protocol. Have you ever heard about the Montreal Protocol? You might have heard about the very important agreement called as Paris Agreement. Right now we are struggling very hard to make this Paris Agreement a successful program. Within this one, there is a concept called as net zero emission gap report. There is a report called as emission gap report. Again, very, very important. Net zero, we can understand. But what is this emission gap report? Right now in the COP26, COP, Conference of Parties 26, everyone is talking about the emission gap report. The report was released just 2 days back. A very, very important report. All these things we will be discussing about this one. Right from COP1, whatever the developments that happened till COP26, each and every development we will be discussing. What do you mean by Bali roadmap? What do you mean by Durban ad hoc platform, which is called as ad hoc Durban platform, called as ADP? What do you mean by nationally determined contributions, INDC? How INDC gave way for NDCs. Right now, no INDC. There is no INDC right now. NDCs are there. What do you mean by voluntarily commitments? All the things we'll be discussing here in the climate change. Very, very important live concept where it is that climate change. We'll be talking about the organizations like UNEP, IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Then we'll be talking about what is called as UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. We'll be talking about the UNCBD, United Nations Convention on Biodiversity. Then we'll be talking about United Nations Convention on Combating Desertification, UNCCD. All they are very, very important conventions. Along with this one, we need to talk about some of the other important conventions where they're called as the Convention on Migratory Species. The conventions on migratory species. Some of the species are migrating from place to place. When they are migrating, they need to be protected. And therefore, all the world countries came and they started discussing what needs to be done to these species. All these things will be dealt here in the climate change, global warming. Whenever the climate is changing, see, when the climate is changing, why the climate should not change? Come on, give the answer. Why the climate should not change? Every day you will be seeing, like, the temperatures will be rising. Every day you will be seeing the cloud cover. The cloud will be changing. Because of this one, the climate also changes. Then why it is a big deal? Is it a big deal or what? What happens when the climate changes happen? Rise in temperature, rise in sea level. No, can the climate can change or what? Climate can change. So what? Climate change. Why we are worried about this climate change? The climate can change, and so the people are calling this one as climate change. Let it change. What happens? Ecological balance disturbed. In fact, see the importance of the word itself. The word, very important word, the climate change. What can change is weather. Never the climate should change. Got the point? See the very importance of the very word, the climate change. We are using this word climate change very easily, but that very word, which is called as a combination of two words, the climate and the change, what can change is the weather. The climate should not change, because what is climate? Climate is the average weather conditions of a region over a period of time. We have calculated the temperatures of that particular region, the pressure of that region, we have calculated the rainfall of that region for a span of time, maybe for 30 years. When you have calculated the climatic conditions for the 30 years, where we arrived at an average condition. This average should be the one which should be continued throughout its lifetime, which is called as climate. But the climate is changing, which is a major development. Major change, if at all it's not development, major change is the one. Or the one, the climate should not change. What can change is weather. The climate should be constant. But here, what is happening? The climate is changing. The very word itself is a very, very powerful word. Climate is changing means what? It's a big scenario. Clear? This is about the global warming and the climate change. These are all the things we'll be discussing here. How the UNEP gave way for development of IPCC, how IPCC gave way for the development of UNFCCC, and how UNFCCC gave way for the development of Kyoto Protocol. All needs to be seen in a chronological order. If you know the entire structure, then only can understand the importance of COP26. Maybe you may be reading about the COP26 without understanding the intricacies that are present within the importance of the words that are there. What happened recently in the case of Maldives? In the case of Maldives, in the case of Fiji, what is Fiji? Fiji is a country that is present in the Southwest Pacific Islands. Okay. In the case of these countries, especially in the case of Maldives, recently the member of parliaments of the Maldives, all the people went into the deep inner layers of the Indian Ocean, stood there for almost all 1 hour. The moment when they came up, they said that we conducted parliamentary session inside the Indian Ocean water. Does it make any sense? All the people, all the member of parliaments of Maldives, they went into the inner layers of the ocean. They were there on the bed of the ocean and sat for almost 1 hour. And they came back. And they came out and gave the statement. What is the statement they gave? They said that we conducted the parliamentary session on the bed of the Indian Ocean. What that means? If you developed countries, if at all you are not stopping the global warming, in the future our life is like this. We need to conduct the parliament in the water. We are submerging like anything. You please save us. This is what the protest made by the Maldivian parliamentarians to the world countries against the developed countries, whoever is not following the norms of the Kyoto Protocol and the Paris Agreement. Also in the case of Fiji, there is a very small island which is present by the side of the Fiji, called as one small island, where the president of that particular country island, this islandic country, okay, the president of that country, where he has purchased some 100 square kilometers of land in the Fiji. Why he purchased on behalf of that country? Why they purchased? Because that country is fast submerging. When the land is submerging, the people has to run away from the land, right? Whenever the people get run away from the land, they need to have some other area where the land should be there. In order to have a safe passage of the people from here to there, the president of that country has purchased the land in some other country. Where these people who are migrating from one particular area, the land is submerging, they are called as refugees. Who is a refugee? Who is being exiled from the country. What type of exiles are found? Political exiles are found. Whenever we don't like one guy, we will be asking that fellow to get out of the country. This is a political exile, right, which is called as the political refugee. More number of environmental refugees are happening right now rather than the political refugees. See the concept of environmental refugees. All these terms are very, very important. Who is environmental refugees? Nowadays, we are seeing more environmental refugees than that of the political refugees. Who is environmental refugee? Whenever the land gets submerged, the people has to run away from the submerged region to the upper regions. I'll give you one best example. This is the country. Come on, name the country. What is this country? What is this country? Bangladesh. Fine. Which is located in the Southeast Asia. Clear? Bangladesh, South Asia, not Southeast Asia, okay? Bangladesh is a country located in South Asia. Out of all the South Asiatic countries, in which country where you can find the high density of the population? It is Bangladesh. What do you mean by density of the population? Number of persons living per 1 square kilometer is called as the density. Where do you find very great density in the entire South Asia? It is not in India, but in Bangladesh. Clear? What is the importance of this one? Bangladesh country is very, very close to the mean sea level. Any rise of just 1 meter of rise of the water submerges almost 1/3 of the Bangladesh. Entire this particular piece of land will get submerged. Where do you find more densities? In the Bangladesh. When this land get submerged, these people has to run to upper reaches. Who is there in upper reaches? Throughout Bangladesh, which country is located? Where they can go? They will coming to India. What are these refugees are called as? We are talking about Rohingyas right now. We are talking about some other migrants who are coming from Bangladesh like Chekmas, Hajongs, Rohingyas. These are the communities we are talking about. Forgetting about the environmental refugees. In the future, it is going to happen. Could understand the importance of the climate change. These are the things that are going to happen in the near future. Therefore, we need to act very swiftly. We need to act very swiftly so that the climate change can be tamed, can be under control. That's why the meetings are happening. The meetings gave way for the protocols, agreements. There is a lot of difference between the Kyoto Protocol and the Paris Agreement. The very word like agreement makes a lot of sense. The protocol again makes a lot of sense. You need to understand what is the meaning of that particular protocol, what is the meaning of this agreement. If you can understand the importance of this one, then you can write the answers in the mains part. Not just in the prelims, in the mains part you can write all the answers regarding this one. Then the last one. See the fourth module. What is the fourth module? Which talks about the pollutions, different types of pollutions. Air pollution, water pollution. Then air pollution, water pollution, then soil, then come on. You people are aware of all these things. Come on. Sound pollution, very good then. Light pollution, too good then. Corona. Huh? Space pollution, okay then. Medical, e-waste, plastic. Got the point? What are the burning topics right now? The plastic waste, e-waste, medical waste. See, we are celebrating 100 billion vaccines are there. All those vaccines which are, the syringes which are used for the vaccine, used to pierce the body one time and needs to throw, right? 1 billion vaccines, 2 doses, 2 billions. Where they need to be thrown? There must be some place, right? Management of the e-waste, management of the medical waste, management of the hazardous waste. There are certain conventions even. There are certain conventions like Stockholm's Convention. The Stockholm Convention, where the chemicals, whenever you are exporting between the countries, there are certain norms needs to be followed. Then Rotterdam Convention, Stockholm Convention. Then you can find other conventions like where the plastic and other chemicals, hazardous waste. All this waste. Also, there is another very important convention where it is called as the Convention over the Seas. The Convention over the Seas. Whenever the boats are, the steamers are moving on the open seas. Seas belongs to which country? Oceans belongs to which country? Pacific Ocean belongs to which country? Indian Ocean belongs to which country? Atlantic Ocean belongs to which country? Who is managing all these things? There must be one body, right? When Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, they are not belonging to one country. Someone needs to manage. Who is that someone? United Nations Organization. All the oceans belongs to the world humanity. Who gave this concept? Under the concept called as CLOS. UNCLOS. Never heard. United Nations Convention on Laws on Seas. UNCLOS, very good. Okay, biomedical waste, yes, Minamata Convention, Rotterdam Convention, right? All they are the very, very important conventions. They are related to pollution, we will be discussing here. Also, the environmental legislations, like what are the things like the Water Prevention and the Protection Act, Water Act, Air Act, then Central Pollution Control Board, State Pollution Control Board, how they are giving the rules and regulations to manage the state of affairs in India. Then after this one, we need to go to the very, very important concept within this one called as EIA. There is a concept called as EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment, that comes within the fourth module. What do you mean by EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment? Whenever any developmental project happens, what type of impact will be there from that developmental project in the future? You need to assess that particular damage ahead of the developmental project, ahead of implementation of that developmental project. If at all you are assessing, then what happens? The damage can be reduced. And what is the current related part here? The guidelines are being given here in the year 2020. The environmental impact assessment, draft policy of 2020, we need to talk about those things. These are the things we will be talking about in these 4 modules. Clear? All these things, what we will be taking care of, come and understand. What we will be taking care of, ecology and environment, this is the one where the 2 aspects are there. Whatever the aspects we dealt right now, all they are called as the very static, the theory part. This is all the theory part, where the people call this one as the core part of ecology and environment. What we will be dealing here in the class is this part. What is the other segment that is present here is the application part. Is the application. What is this application which is related to current affairs? What here in our class we will be dealing, we will be talking completely about this theory part, where it is otherwise called as the core part. To a certain extent, wherever it is necessary, wherever that is very important to be included the current affairs, we will be including the current affairs also. But in fact, the duty of this one, the application part, the implementation part, all that will be taken care of the current affairs classes that are happening in your in the current affairs class. Someone will be taking care of this one. Current affairs module is there for you. Weekly, not weekly, monthly magazine, current affairs monthly magazine is there. That magazine will be dealt every month, right? In that magazine, the environmental part is there. That particular part will be taken care in the current affairs class. What is our job? This part. Is it clear? This is where I am differentiating myself from the other things. This is the part where that is the theory part, where the entire core concept, all the conceptual clarity will be given here. Along with this one, here and there, whenever I feel convenient, I will be taking up some of the current affairs and I will be including in this one. But the depth of this current affairs will be dealt here on the other side. Is it clear? Is it okay? This is about the entire syllabus. Then what are the references? Come on, take down the references. All the references are very, very important. Come on, talk about the references. You need to follow strictly our vision material plus class notes. Apart from this one, come on, very, very important. That is useful even for the application part. There is an important site called as ENVIS. Environmental Information Systems. Very, very important. You need to watch that particular site where all the things like, national parks, then Ramsar sites, you can find all the wetlands, you can find all the wildlife sanctuaries, you can find all the biosphere reserves, whatever the developments that are happening, whatever the degradation that is happening, everything is clearly given here in the ENVIS. Environmental Information System, just like Geographical Information System, just like Management Information System, on the same lines, Environment and Information System will be given by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and the Climate Change. This is the first and foremost reference you need to make for the current related and the application oriented concepts. The other very important current related one will be covered in the PIB. What is this PIB? Press Information Bureau. Very, very important. Whatever the current topics, like just now we spoke about what is called as the Panchamritas. If you go to this PIB, you can find all the Panchamritas which are given by the government. The governmental policies, whatever the governmental policy, every month, not every month, every year, in the last leg of December, I think, December around some 24th or 25th, every year, each and every ministry's one gist will be coming out. What do you mean by gist? Nothing but the entire summary. What are the policies, what are the programs of that particular year will be given at once. It's the review report. The name of the report is called as the review report. The review reports will be given by the PIB for each and every ministry. For External Affairs Ministry, it will be giving, where it is useful for your IR. For the Environment, Ministry of Environment, Forest and the Climate Change will be given review report, where that is exclusively for the environment related, where you can get all the information at source, one source. UPSC will be taking clues from all the reports. Whatever is given in the reports, they are very, very important for our exam. Got the one? To a certain extent, it's not directly related. I'll give you one example. Recently, the government of India has released a report called as National Crime Bureau Report. Got the one? Heard about this one? Just 2 days back, 3 days back. National Crime Bureau Report. What is that Crime Bureau Report? It talks about, it has given a big statement. More number of deaths were there in India because of suicides rather than Corona. See the statement? Because of Corona, almost all 1.46 lakhs of the people died. But whereas the people committed suicide, how many people? 1.53 lakh. See the tragic condition in India because of lack of good health facilities, because of lack of because of many diseases and lack of food, lack of financial support. Many of the one where the farmers are the one. Many farmers committed suicide. It's not the death because of the pandemic, the death because of suicides. In India, this is a tragic condition. Entire world was shocked by seeing this statement. In every country, the corona deaths are very, very far away than that of the suicides and all these things. But in India, suicide number is much more than that of the corona deaths. This is a eye-opener for us. We need to check. Every year it is happening. But whenever you are comparing like this, then we feel like, something is seriously going wrong in India. Question can be picked up from this concept. Who gave this one? Again, the report of India. Whenever the Indian governmental authorities are giving the reports, you need to pay concentration on that particular report, irrespective of any subject. whatever may be the subject, because all they can be asked as a question for you, either in paper 1 or paper 2 or paper 3 somewhere. Got the point? These things you should be paying very great attention on. Is it okay? This is what the PIB. 31 children committed suicide on average every day in 2020. Suicides are there for the farmers. In the case of students, the students are committing suicides. Right, too good. Some of the online students are up to the mark. Come on, let us see this one. It is the PIB, ENVIS. One is Environmental Information System. Then the other one is PIB. Along with this one, are there any other websites where you need to go for this one? Especially the very important one, but there is a flooding of the information, but you should be very careful regarding the information. Especially the sites of UNFCCC. While dealing the climate change, I will be talking about this one. Don't write here. These are the two very, very important sites. Along with this one, there are certain magazines, of very, very important magazines. If at all you are skipping those magazines, you are skipping UPSC. See the importance of the magazines. One is Yojana. Some of the other faculties also might have given this one, because they are very much important for geography, for polity, they are useful for economy. For every subject they are very useful for. Kurukshetra. Along with, there is a book, there is a magazine which is exclusively for the environment, called as the Down to Earth, managed by Sunita Narayan, very great personality in India. Earlier, she was the one who was the vocal against the beverages in India, like Pepsi, Coca-Cola. Once upon a time, some 1 decade back, I think, maybe some 10 years or 12 years back. What was the very important concept there? The people who are consuming the Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Thumbs Up, what they are consuming the pesticides. Some of the farmers checked the Coca-Cola, Pepsi on the pest, and the pest died. You know this one? They captured the pest and they dipped the pest into the Thumbs Up and the pest died. They used it as fertilizers. This is what she brought the news in the news, brought the news to the limelight. She is a whistleblower, not whistleblower. She was the one who has developed, who brought this news to the light. And everyone was behind her. But being a strong lady, never shook. She is the one, the managing director of this particular magazine. Got the one? Then this is about the Yojana Kurukshetra. Then also the last one, from where we are getting all the information, from where we are taking the information. One is the vision. Even for the vision, from where the information is collected from, both the sources, like I am giving even the inner things. Like whatever the material we have printed out, no? The 3 books that are given, from where the contents are being taken from. They are taken from both the NCERT and NIOS. In the NCERT, the biology textbook, especially the last chapters of biology, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th chapter. And in NIOS, there is a module called as environmental module. Environmental module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8A, 8B. These are all the chapters from where we have taken and we have printed that material called as the environmental material that is given to you. So, that very environmental material is very, very important for you for the UPSC. All their plus means what? And, not or. You have to go through all these things. NIOS, what is NIOS? National Institute of Open Schooling. NCERT, NIOS, National Institute of Open Schooling, Environmental Module. Environmental Module. Chapters like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8A, 8B. These are the chapters. These are the references. Is it okay? These are the references. From here we are taking the core part and we are going to explain everything in the class. In the forthcoming classes, all the classes will be completing the entire concept of what we have discussed in the 4 modules, like ecology, then biodiversity, then climate change and the global warming. The last one is pollution and the environmental related legislations along with the EIA, environmental impact assessment. Fine? Here we'll take a small break. After the break, we'll talk about the ecology. Directly we are entering the first module, the ecology. What is the difference between the ecology and environment? If you can understand the difference between the ecology and environment, then you can understand every concept. Let me make the things very clear. Fine? Let us go for a small break. After the break, we'll talk about the subject. We'll be entering into the subject. Fine? Till now, we have wasted so much of time in explaining all the periphery things. Now, we will be going in a systematic order. Clear? Yes, go for a small break. Yes, welcome back. After a big break. Okay. Now, let us start this one. Let us directly enter into the first module, which is called as ecology. Try to understand what is the difference between the ecology and environment. I am going to give the difference between the ecology and environment, why it should be called with the 2 terms. One is ecology and one is environment. What makes the difference? Whenever we are seeing the textbook definitions, like ecology is nothing but the scientific way of understanding the interaction, interdependencies between the species. Whereas environment, which is located everything around an organism. These are the things which are given with a very simpler definition type of structures. But what is the real understanding regarding the ecology and environment when it comes to UPSC? Clear? Understand this one? What is ecology? What is environment? Ecology talks about all the rules and regulations. Whatever the rules that needs to be followed in the nature. See, I'm not talking about the textbook definitions. I'm giving the real picture what the ecology talks and what the environment talks. Fine? Ecology is a set of rules and regulations. Whenever you are there in the nature, the nature has prescribed certain framework where you need to fit in that one in order to survive. This is what the ecology talks about. It talks about all the rules and regulations. What is environment? Environment talks about whenever the rules are followed, whenever those rules are followed there, what type of agreements needs to be done in order to make the rule implemented in a very perfectly orderly fassion. What type of agreements needs to be made? Meaning what? I am very sure that you understood nothing. Right? Now let me give an example, then you can understand. With this example, everything needs to be clear. What is ecology? What the environment talks about? What I said, ecology talks about the rules and regulations. What is the rule? When a person is moving from the equatorial region to the polar region, the temperature has to decrease. This is the rule. Where you are implementing this rule? In India, because we are there in India. If at all you are moving from the Kanyakumari to Kashmir, what happens to the temperature? Keep on reducing, right? It is implementation. On the same lines, now see the rules that are there in the ecology. Let me take the one specific species called as Amur falcons. There are certain birds which are called as the Amur falcons. What are these falcons? Falcons are the raptors. The raptors are the species with the elongated wings. These are the species where they are located in the Amur region. What is this Amur? Amur is a name of a river between Russia and China. Very good. In between Russia and China, there is to flow a river. There is a river that is flowing as a common boundary between these two countries. The name of the river is called as Amur River. Along the banks of this Amur River, there are certain birds called as the falcons. When the falcons are staying there, when this area is reeling under the severe winter, as the bird cannot sustain that winter temperatures, in that severe winter temperature, the cold winter temperatures, the bird cannot sustain there. Therefore, the bird adapts. What is adaptation? The bird migrates from that region to, see this one, if this is the map, if this is a map, if at all I am drawing the Amur region from where the bird is moving. Suppose if this is the, see the bird, if this is Africa, this is India, this is, let me remove the borders. Fine. Oh. Fine. This is what the Russia region, this is Russia, this is China. This is the river. This bird used to migrate all the way from this region to this area. What is this area? What is the country? India. From here, it will be moving to this area. Again back to this region. This is the migration habit of the bird. What is the migration habit of the bird? Why the bird is migrating? What is the migration? Migration is a process of adaptation. What is adaptation? Just now we talked about the coniferous tree. Whenever in the cold winters, the branches cannot be stretched far away from the stem, the branches will be close to the stem. That is the process of adaptation, right? On the same lines, even the birds. The birds cannot adapt to the two types of climatic condition. Any species can adapt to any one type of climatic conditions, like either it can adapt to two cold temperatures or two warm temperatures, but cannot both. As these birds are adapted to the warm type of climatic conditions in the very cold winters, these birds are migrating from that region to this region. What is this area? This is the name of the state called as Nagaland. These birds comes to the Nagaland. There is a lake called as Doyang Lake. There is a lake called as Doyang Lake in the Nagaland. Because of the birds that are migrating in flocks, not just one, two, they are coming in thousands, 10,000s, 15,000s of birds. When these birds are coming from the Amur region as a process of adaptation to the Doyang region of Nagaland, these Naga people, what they started seeing the birds, when the birds are coming in thousands, they felt like these birds are going to damage the birds of the local area, and these people started killing the birds. In just one day, they killed 10,000 birds. All the ecologist environments in that region, they are waiting for the birds to return, but the birds never returned. Got the point? The birds never returned there. When the birds never returned, they came to know about the incident that took place in India. The people needs to be brought awareness. Why the people kill? Because the people feel like this is the alien bird for this area, therefore they kill the bird. Now, the name of that village, see the name of the village. The name of the village called as Pankti. The name of the village in which this Doyang Lake is located is called as the Pankti village. When the people started killing the birds, now the hue and cry was there in the world countries, like all the Russian community ecologists, the Chinese ecologists, where they started asking the countries to come for a meeting, to come for meeting. What is this meeting called as? Meeting called as convention. This is what the convention, where you people might have heard about the very word convention many times. COP. What is COP? Conference of Parties. What is that conference? Because of the conventions. First of all, these countries will be meeting. What type of countries will be meeting? In case of the birds, what are the countries? One is Russia, China, the other one is India, another one is the country that called as Somalia. From these countries, leaders were being invited. They were invited and the people started explaining, the ecologists started explaining, see, there is a bird called as falcon, called as the Amur falcon, which used to migrate to that area. You please take care of that bird. Got the point? When the awareness was given, then the government of India, along with the environmentalists of the India, they started taking care of the bird. These people went to the Nagaland. Who? The Indian environmentalists went to Nagaland, started giving awareness to the Naga people. See, Naga people, please don't kill the bird. The birds will be coming for a temporary time period, and then they will be going. They are taking some rest here because as they cannot migrate all the way from Amur region to directly to Africa, therefore they are coming and they are staying for the time for time's sake. They are staying here. You please take care of this one. Because of the best efforts made by the ecologists, by the environmentalists here, the Naga people who were called as the poachers till this point of time, the poachers turned protectionists. Got the point? The poachers turned protectionists. How the poachers turns protectionists? Because of convention. Because of such a conventions where there is a larger convention took birth called as the Convention on Migratory Species. It's not just the convention among a few countries just for one bird. All the migratory species, there are species which are migrating between the countries. When the species is migrating from one country to another country, then both the countries need to have some common understanding in order to protect that particular species. These conventions, the meetings, all they come under what is called as, all they come under environment. This is what the environmental concept. This migration, what is the rule? The rule for the bird to survive. Whenever the winter temperatures are too cold, the bird has to migrate or else it will be dying there. What is the rule? The migration is the rule, which is called as the process of adaptation. What is the rule? Whenever the temperatures are cold, there is no chance of survival of that bird there, therefore it has to migrate. That is what called as ecology. Had this rule was not there, just imagine, had this rule was not there, can there be any migration? There would have been no migration. When there would be no migration, can there be convention? No convention. Got the point? Whenever the nature is giving a set of rules and regulations for the survival, then the understanding between the countries where they are called as the conventions, all the conventions, you name any convention, all the conventions comes under the environment. That conventions are the result of the rules kept by the nature. Where we are studying those rules, they are the rules of ecology. There are so many rules like Allen's rule. In the environment, there is a rule called as Allen's rule. We'll be coming across all these rules. Like Bergsman rule, already I have given the Bergsman rule. What the Bergsman rule talks about? The Bergsman rule talks about the color complexion of the people. Whoever living close to the equator has to be in the dark complexion. That's why the Negroids. Got the point? Have you ever seen any Mongoloid who is dark in color? Have you ever seen any Negroid who is very, very fair in color? Though you apply some tons of, no chance. Got the point? Rule is the rule. The nature has got a very perfect rules. If the rules are implemented by all the people, where that comes under the environment. This is a very simple logic between the ecology and environment. Now is it clear for you? This is the classical case of Pankti village. The villagers who are there in the Pankti have turned the the poachers into protectionists. And right now, this is the classical case study. This is about a simple example regarding the ecology and environment. Without ecology, there is no convention. There is no agreement between the countries. Where the agreements between the countries which comes under the environment. Is it clear? Is it okay? This is what the very essence of what is ecology, what is environment. Is it okay? See the example. The best example is not just this one. There are some other migratory species. There are so many migratory species. See this one. What is convention? Convention on migratory species. Come on, talk about some of the migratory species. Siberian crane, Amur falcon. These are regarding the birds. Are there any species which are not birds but they are migrating? Huh? Come on. Are there any other species which are not the birds but they are migrating? Fishes. Flamingos, again birds, eels, fishes, okay. Then talk about the larger mammal, snow leopard. Do you know snow leopard? The word is nothing but the snow and leopard. But where do you find? Do you find these snow leopards in the polar region or what? They are not found in the polar region. They are confined to just 12 countries of the world. What are those 12 countries? Where all the mountainous terrains on the top, the peaks are having the ice. In those areas alone, you can find the snow leopards, the countries like Russia, China, Mongolia. Then coming down south, the so-called Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. Then comes India, Nepal, Bhutan. Got the names? Only these countries where the snow leopards are there. When these snow leopards are moving, all these countries are bounded by a meeting called as the Convention on Migratory Species. Is it okay? Convention on Migratory Species, again, the species like elephants. These elephants, they are moving into Bhutan, they are coming into Assam, they are moving into Bangladesh. Now the countries need to have a common agreement. Whenever there is a movement of the animals, let us not stop them. Let us not, what is called as injure them. You need to provide a safe passage. These are the meetings. If the bird or the animal is not having the adaptation of, what is adaptation? Of migration, there is no environment. Is it clear? This is what the ecology and the environment. Come on, check this one. You can make note of this one. Come on, draw that one and make note of this one. Amur Falcons, you write in your own words. This is the very essence of ecology and environment. Ecology and environment. Come on. The other animals which can be migrating are the turtles, dolphins. Very good. Then there are certain dolphins called as Irrawaddy dolphins. Have you ever heard about Irrawaddy dolphins? This is about the now, see the definitions. What are the definitions for ecology and environment? Come on, write down. What is ecology? What is ecology? The study of how organisms interact with their environment. What is ecology? The ecology is defined as how any organism interact with their environment. Then what is environment? Write down as it is. All organisms must interact with both living and non-living things that surround them. What is environment then? After the ecology, what is environment? Environment is simply defined as everything around the species is made up of all the living and non-living things that surround the organisms. What is there? Everything around the species, which includes both biotic and abiotic. What do you mean by biotic and what is abiotic? Biotic is nothing but the living organisms. Abiotic, nothing but non-living elements. Like, why non-living elements are required for us? Do we require non-living elements or what? For the very survival, do we require the non-living elements? Example. Gas. Right. Simply, without gas, can you stay for 1-2 minutes? What is this atmospheric gas? Nothing but non-living element. Soil on which we are living right now, if there is no land, what happens? Can we sustain the life here? No. Then water, just imagine water. See, these are the one. Have you written this one? There was a very great biologist, German biologist, by name Mr. Ernst Haeckel. See the name, spelling? This is the one. Ernst Haeckel, a German zoologist, who has termed the very word called as ecology in the year 1866. This is the introduction of this guy. Ernst Haeckel, a German zoologist, coined the term ecology in the year 1866. According to him, what do you mean by ecology? Ecology comes from a Greek term, okios and logos. What is okios? Okios is nothing but house. Logia or logos is nothing but the study of life. Study of life. And what is house? House is nothing but where that particular species is living, where that life form is living. Simply is nothing but the study of the living space. Wherever the species is living at that particular space, whenever you are studying, this is called as ecology. Ecology is simply defined as the study of the living space of an organism. Got the point? This is what the definition. Study of house of organism is nothing but environment. Study of house or otherwise the environment in which we live. What are the factors of environment? What are the factors of environment? You can find two very important factors. One, biotic and abiotic. Just now we talked about the abiotic. Like without that particular abiotic we cannot sustain, like gases which are abiotic, water abiotic, sunlight. Without sunlight can we sustain? No, again. Sustain, what do you mean by sustaining? Survival of the species here on the surface. What happens when the sunlight is not there? Can we live here? We cannot live, because whatever the energy we are deriving, entire energy is from the sunlight. The photo energy is getting converted into chemical energy by the plants. That chemical energy we are consuming, and so we are active, or else we will be inactive. Meaning what? We will be dead. Right? This is what the abiotic factors. What are the abiotic factors? Come on, see the abiotic factors. Like the abiotic factors like sunlight, wind, temperature, chemical products. What are these chemical products that are naturally available in the nature? Like NPK. What is NPK? Nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, these are the ones which are very great macronutrients which are useful for the plant growth. These are the very important chemical products, along with the water. Without water or without these abiotic elements, you cannot survive. These are the which are elements that are present here in the environment. After abiotic elements, whenever you are talking about the biotic elements, meaning what? Without abiotic we can't survive. This is what we got confirmed. Like sunlight is very much necessary, water is very much necessary, gases are very much necessary. Therefore, without abiotic elements we cannot survive. Then what about the biotic elements? Without biotic elements, we ourselves are the biotic elements. Without other species, can we survive? Can we survive without other species? Let the man is a complex organism that is present. When he is the most talented and the highly intellectual animal on the surface of the earth, can we sustain without the other species? Like without tigers, can we sustain? Yes. Without lions, we can sustain. Without zebras, can we sustain? Yes. Without all other life, can we sustain? Basically the plants. The plants are the ones which are the primary producers. Without the food, the human cannot survive. Therefore, even there is an interaction between the plant and the animals. What is that interaction? Called as the biotic interaction. Come on, biotic factors. What are the biotic factors that are influencing the life on the surface of the earth? See the biotic factors. Biotic factors, living organisms, all the living beings in an environment. These are all the living organisms. Because of this one, see this one, if at all I am giving the biotic and abiotic. These are the one which are interacting to form the biodiversity. If these interactions are not there, there is no question of varied life forms on the surface of the earth. The very important essential thing that needs to be understood between the environment is the components of the environment. What are the different components of the environment? Both the abiotic and the biotic. Without abiotic, biotics are waste. Without biotic, abiotics are waste. If the organism is not there, what happens whenever the sunlight is there? Is it of any use? When the organism is not there, even the gas is there, is it of any use? Got the point? Both they are interdepending again one another. This is what the interaction that is found in the nature. This is about, okay, this is about the environment and the ecology. Now, after this one, let us talk about the significance. Come on, significance of ecology. Give the heading as significance of ecology. Ecological studies. Why the ecological studies are very important? Why the ecological studies are very important? Why the ecological studies are important? Come on, give the heading as significance. Why they are important? Come on, tell me. Don't read this one. There is a big literature there, okay? That I will be uploading. There is no need to worry about this one. But why we need to study the ecology? Huh? To protect organisms. Then? To protect organism. Forget about the protection of organism. Talk about the self-interest. What we want? We want food, right? Where the food can be grown? In the soil. But soil requires nitrogen. When you see the geography of Indian geography, where the soils topic, it is said that almost all the soils of India are not having nitrogen. What are the soils that are there in India? You can find alluvial soils, black soils, red soils, laterite soils. You take any soil. Almost all the major soils of India, they lack nitrogen. When the nitrogen is not there, we need to fix the nitrogen. Who will be fixing the nitrogen? Are the people are interested in fixing the nitrogen or what? Nitrogen fixing job. Notification for nitrogen fixing job. You go and fix all the nitrogen in all the soils of India or what? No. It has to be done by some of the bacteria. Rhizobium. Whenever the root nodules are extended, the rhizobium, where there is a very symbiotic relation between the rhizobium and the nodules of the root, where the space of that root extends, the surface area of the root extends, therefore it will be capturing or absorbing all the small trace quantities of nitrogen in and available in and around the soil that is being observed, and so it is supplied to the plant. The root nodules, have you ever heard about these root nodules, where the rhizobium will be attached to the root nodules and it will be supplying the nitrogen to the plants? Who will be explaining all these things? If at all you are not studying the ecological studies about the species, if at all you are not, you don't have any knowledge regarding the species, how can you know that the rhizobium is the one which can fix the nitrogen? There are certain bacteria which is called as the nitrogen fixation bacteria. What are the one? What are the nitrogen fixation bacteria? The process like rhizobium is one, fine. Denitrification, the process called as denitrification. The process called as ammonification. Got the point? All these are the things that are present within the soil where the atmospheric nitrogen is fixed in the soil. Who will be explaining all these things? It is the ecologist or the ecological scientist who will be talking about all these things. The other concept, just now we discussed about the oil zappers. Who will be giving the biological remedies for the people? Again, the ecologists. Fine. See, these are the importance. Let us see the importance of all these things. Understanding the human and the environmental relations. The best studies are being made by the ecologist, and the subject called as ecology will be giving the biological remedies. where they are called as bioremedies. Right now we people are well aware of one very important revolution called as Green Revolution. Without the Green Revolution, Indian population would have been not so great right now, fine. But that very Green Revolution is giving the signs of cracking. What is the signs of the cracking? Because of extensive use of urea. All the Indian soils are turning, most of the Indian soils, if not the oil, most of the Indian soils are turning toxic. In order to detoxic the soils, right now the ecologists are working day in, day out. These people are asking not to go for using chemical fertilizers. The people are asking to go for the organic fertilizers. Therefore, the government of India has introduced a program called as Paramparagat Yojana. Have you ever heard of Pradhan Mantri Paramparagat Yojana? Nothing but organic farming. If I use the word organic farming, you will be well aware of that one. If I use the Yojana name called as Paramparagat Yojana, again you are not well aware, right? Organic farming. What organic farming talks about? Let us use only biochemicals, bio fertilizers, bio pesticides. Who will be giving the solutions? Again, ecologists. Ecologists are the ones which are entrusted with the study of the entire life cycle of the species. Therefore, they are the one who are bringing the bioremedies. Without them, it is very impossible to bring the bioremedies. Fine? These are the significance. Come on, let us see the significance. One is environmental conservation. We cannot conserve the environment. When I said I will be uploading this one, everyone stop writing. At least write 1 or 2 lines, okay? Though I may be uploading, it doesn't mean that you should not write. Nitrobacter, Azotobacter, Nitrosomonas, very good. Nitrosomonas, Azotobacter, then Nitrobacter, all these are the bacteria which can fix the nitrogen into the soil, right? These are the things we will be explaining. It is the ecological studies. Then resource allocation. What type of resource allocation? All plants and animals have roles in the environment. See, whenever you are talking about the plant role in the environment, there are certain species, especially the plant species. Are there any plants where there are animal eating plants? Are there any plants which are animal eating plants? Is there? Not? Never heard? What is the name of the plant? Pitcher plant. What is the scientific name? Pitcher plant, everyone will be giving the same name, like, this is a very simple one. Venus flytrap. Ever heard about this one? Venus flytrap? Yes, the people are giving the answer, like, let me see the online people. Okay, Venus flytrap, yes, very good. Snehil Kumar has given answer. Pitcher plant. Okay, these are the plants. Why the plants are consuming the animals? That is the point. That is the question. There are certain plants which are consuming the animals, that we understood. But why they are consuming the animals? Why the plant has to consume the animal? What should be the rule? Animals has to consume the plants, right? But why these animals are, why the plants are consuming the animals? Come on, anyone can give the answer. See, all they are very, very common. It's not like, I am explaining any new thing. Okay, they are very basics. The answer was given by Monica Sonwani. The answer was given. Kamlesh has given the answer. No root nodules. Okay, Atul Pandey. Too good. Kalaspatri. Okay, very good. The native name of this one. Very good. Now see here. What is the reason why these plants are consuming the animals? Because they require the protein food. As the protein is required, nothing but the nitrogen is required for those things, what is this one? The protein is required because of this one, where they will be consuming the animals. Whenever the bird or whenever the small species, insect, come very close to this one, there is a gum type of material that will be released by the plant. It will be trapping the species and get consumes. Wherever the soils are lacking nitrogen, wherever the soils are not having rich the nutrients, there the nutrients are supplemented from the animals. It is only those areas, it is only in those areas wherever the soils are lacking the rich nitrogen, where the plants are going for consumption of the species, like animal species. Right? These are the one where this is the one which is the balancing act that is happening between the plants and the animals. Then the next one is called as energy conservation. Energy conservation and the eco-friendliness, these are the very important significance of sundew. Very good. Okay, these are the important significance of the ecological studies. Fine. You can write other thing like, the oil consumption bacteria. There is an organization in India called as the TERI. There is an organization called as TERI, the Energy Resource of India. This is the name of the organization. Rajendra Pachuri. Have you ever heard the name of this guy? Recently died? Never heard? Rajendra Pachuri was the one who was awarded Nobel Peace Prize. Why? Because he was the Director General of IPCC. What is IPCC? Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. He was the chairman of this IPCC when the Nobel Prize was there for IPCC. On behalf of IPCC, in the capacity of chairman of IPCC, he received the Nobel Prize. Along with the half of the prize went to IPCC, another half went to Al Gore. Who is Al Gore? The Vice President of America. The Nobel Peace Prize, where it was shared by the one personality and one organization, called as, one is IPCC and one is Al Gore. In the capacity of chairman of IPCC, Rajendra Pachuri, he is the one who has received this prize, and the other half was given to Al Gore, the then Vice President of USA. Why we are referring Rajendra Pachuri? Because he is the man behind this particular organization, TERI, the Energy Resource of India. This is the organization which has developed the very important bio-remedy for the oil sludges. What is oil sludge? Whenever the oil spills in the refineries or in the water, the oil needs to be purified, means what? That will be consumed, cleaned. Which is the animal that is consuming? This is the bacteria. The name of the product is called as oil zappers. Right? This is the organization which has developed the oil zappers. Who are the people working here? All the ecologists, all the environmentalists. Clear? This is about the significance. Now, this is simply the very basic introduction of the definitions. We have not entered into the main part, It's basically in the introduction of the definitions, introduction of the significance, and to understand what we mean by ecology and environment. Before we enter into the main concept of ecology and environment, let me acquaint you with some of the other important basic terminologies. What are the important basic terminologies of ecology? Where you will be coming across these terminologies almost every time. Basic concepts of ecology. Come on, write down. What are the basic elements of or the concepts of ecology? We will be coming across these terms now and then, very frequently. Like the very important one, like what is called as limiting factor, carrying capacity. There are certain terms which are very, very important. Ecological niche. All that are the very basic concepts that are found in the ecology. The very important term like habitat. Let us start with the habitat. What do you mean by the habitat? What is a habitat? Habitat is nothing but a place of living. Simply, suppose if at all we are, if we take the case of the human, what is my habitat is my home, my house, right? Where I am living is nothing but the habitat. Where we people are living on the planet Earth. Therefore, Earth is a habitat for the human. Got the point? Where do you find the honeybees? The habitat of honeybees. Where? Honeycomb. Right? Where do you find the habitat of giraffes? Grasslands. The grassland is the one where the giraffes are used to live. Where do you find the habitat of hippopotamus? Marshy, muddy lands. Where the hippos will be there within that one. This is what called as habitat. Like the best example, polar bear. What is the habitat? Come on. What is the habitat of the polar bear? Which is the area? This is what called as Arctic Circle. Right? The Arctic region is the habitat of polar bears. What is the habitat of penguins? Antarctica. Antarctica is the habitat of penguins. Could you understand? This is what the meaning of habitat. Habitat is nothing but home. Nothing but house of that particular species. Now, read this one. What is environment? Environment is everything around the species, and habitat is a specific area where that species is located. Got the point? Now, with this background, understand this one. Write down this one. Many species. Come on, write down. Many, see, all they are very, very important. They are the basic terms. After understanding each and every basic term, we will enter into the main concept of ecology and environment. Fine? Many species can survive in more than one environment. But each species has its home or the habitat. Fishes may be able to live in the fish tank, but would rather like to live in the wild. The fundamental idea behind the study of ecology is that all organisms are interdependent. They interact with one another and the physical environment. Write down as it is. Come on, that will form the notes for you. Don't think that, however, I am getting this PPT, therefore I can see this one. If at all you are not writing, that will be there in the form of PPT itself. That will never enter into your mind. Unnecessarily I have given the statement like I will be uploading the PPT. Oh my God, some of the people are calling this one as igloo. Igloo is nothing but house of the Eskimos. Okay, don't say polar bears are living in the igloos. No. Okay, igloo is a house of Eskimos. Eskimos are the tribal people who are living in the northern Canada and the Greenland. Then the next one, right on the next one. What do organisms need to survive? What they require? What we require? Forget about the organisms. What we require? What require? Food is a very, very important one. Food, then water, roti, kapda, makan. Have you ever heard? Okay, the basic elements. The roti, kapda, makan. This is the one. Roti, kapda. Kapda is not given, but makan is given here. Okay, shelter is there. Water, food. These are the basic requirements. Now see the very important terms, competition. What is competition? Have you ever heard the name of the great personality called as Darwin? Charles Darwin. What his concept is about? Concept is about the concept of evolution, survival of the fittest, and struggle for existence. Struggle for existence and the survival of the fittest. These are the two very, very, very popular concepts discovered by what is called as, given by Mr. Charles Darwin by studying in the islands called as Galapagos Islands. Have you ever heard the name of the island called as Galapagos? Where is Galapagos? If this is the South America, this is South America, this is the area where you can find the island called as Galapagos, very close to the equator. These are Galapagos Islands. This is the Galapagos Islands where this guy got the very great idea of struggle for existence, survival of the fittest. He is the one who talked about the competition. See the competition. For every field and for every species there is a competition. Competition for what? You people are competing for what? For the better job. But for the very existence there is a competition. Just imagine. For the very existence there is a competition. If you are fit in that competition, then only you will be surviving. If at all you are not fit, you will not survive. Suppose there is a deer which is a very weak deer and the tiger is chasing. If at all you are having the capacity to run, you will survive. If you don't have the capacity to run, you are not fit. You are fit to be eaten. What the point? If at all you are having the zeal to crack the prelims, then only you will be entering into the mains. If you are unable to crack, you will be here. What the point? This is what the competition. Come on. An important aspect of the struggle for survival involves competition for what? Limited resources. Why the competition takes place? Because of limited resources. Say for example, 10 lakh jobs are there and 1 lakh people are appearing for the exam. Is it called as competition or what? 10 lakh IAS posts. Just imagine. Will there be any value for the IAS post? If only 1 lakh people are competing? The limited resources, the resources should be limited, then only you should be calling this one as the competition. What are the limited resources? The limited resources like water, limited resources like food, shelter, right? All they are the limited resources. Because of this one, the competition is inevitable. The competition is inevitable. There is a very wonderful concept called as limiting factor. Competition is connected with the other factor called as limiting factor. Come on. Have you done with this one? Sunlight is not limited or what? It is also limited. For you it is not limited. Right? If you go to Antarctica, if you go to Arctic, what happens? And I will give you one best example. In the countries like UK, in the country like Denmark, just like we people in India, we are letting the houses on rent. You will be seeing the to-let board and you will be asking how much is the rent and you will be joining. Right? On the same lines, how we are letting the houses on rent in the country like UK, in the country like Denmark, in the country like Netherlands, what is let for the government? It is the roof of the house. Not all the roofs of the houses are being taken on rent by the government. It is only those roofs wherever the sun rays are falling. Got the point? Why the sun rays falling roofs are taken on rent by the government? Because they are producing the solar electricity there. Don't you think that it is a limiting factor? Now, not only this one. Sir, sunlight is not a limiting factor for the tropical region. At least for not tropical region. Maybe it is the limiting factor for the temperate region. Even in the equatorial region, sunlight is a limiting factor. Didn't understand? The concept called as limiting factor. We'll be coming to the concept called as limiting factor. Let us see the next one called as the limiting factor. See the limiting factor? Understand this one. The doubt that was raised by one of our friend is sunlight is not a limited factor. It is abundantly found. When it is abundantly found, now understand this one. What is the concept of limiting factor? If you understand all these concepts, everything is very, very clear for the forthcoming classes. Clear? Now, limiting factor. Why the species, the plant species in the deserts are having thorns? Come on. Why the plant species in those areas where the rainfall is very less are having thorns? Do you know thorn? What is thorn? Spine. Spine, thorns. What are thorns? What it is called in Hindi? Kata. Okay. Why the plants are having the spines and the thorns? Where do you find the species having spines and thorns? Only in those areas where evaporation is more than precipitation. Do you know this one? In the high rainfall area, no species will be having the spines and the thorns. What is a spine for that matter? What is a thorn? Come on. What is spine? Very good. Come on now. Come on, you explain. In those areas where the evaporation is more than precipitation, meaning what? More loss of moisture is there than that of the rainfall. Those areas, the leaves, see this is the leaf. The leaf get modified into what is called as thorn. What is thorn? Thorn is nothing but the leaf. Leaf itself is called as thorn. How come, sir, why the leaf itself is called as thorn? Have you ever seen any species which is xerophytic? What do you mean by xerophytic species? What is xerophytic species? Cactus? Didn't heard about? Acacia? Never heard? I will show you. This is what the species appears something like this. Have you ever seen this type of species? Again, there will be all the thorns. Also, in the desert areas, you might have come across this type of elongated species where the spines are there. Ever heard about or ever seen this type of species? Right. What are these ones? They are the families of cactus and acacia, where all the species are having the spines. Nowadays, in the modern interior decoration concept, where the people are keeping these small cactus plants along a corner, where it is appearing just like a social status for the people. Clear? What is this spine or the thorn? Thorn is a modified form of leaf. Why the leaf is getting modified as a thorn? Wherever the rainfall is less, wherever the soil is having less moisture, when the soil is not having enough moisture, then what happens? The only part of the plant is the leaf through which the moisture is lost into the atmosphere. This process of loss of moisture from the plant to the environment is called as transpiration. Transpiration. What do you mean by transpiration? The loss of moisture from the plant into the atmosphere. Just like we people, whenever there is a very hot summer or whenever the temperatures are very high, what happens to our body? We'll perspire. What do you mean by perspiration? Nothing but sweat will be oozing out. Fine. Whenever the more and more loss of sweat is there, we try to drink water. Fine. This is what is perspiration for the human, transpiration is for the trees, plants and trees. Fine. Through which part of the plant where the moisture is lost? It is through the leaf. Majority of the moisture is lost through the leaf, through the spores called as somatic spores. There are certain small minute holes just like our sweat pores. The pores are called as somatic pores through which the moisture will be keep on losing. Because of intense temperatures, the water comes through this leaf and the water will be lost. In order to stop this loss of moisture from the plants, what the plant will be doing? The plant will be not sitting calm. Whenever something is lost, it will not be sitting calm. What it will be doing? It will be twisting the leaf. Whenever the leaf is twisted, it will turn into a sharp, very sharp object which is called as the thorn. This is what the thorn. Otherwise called as spine. Fine? This is what called as the thorn or the spine. Why the surface area has been twisted? Because where do you find the somatic pores? Within the leaf. When the pores are being closed, then what happens? There is no loss of the moisture. This is the condition. Whenever the water availability is more, the very thorn will get open and forms the leaf again. Wherever the water availability is there, more and more water availability is there, what happens? The thorns can again turn into leaves. Why? Because no need to consume the water, no need to save the water when the water availability is there. Therefore, what is the limiting factor? Water availability is a limiting factor. In the process of converting the leaf into the thorn, what is the limiting factor? Availability of the water. Why the leaf is getting modified as a thorn? Because of lack of water. If the water availability is there, therefore you can find no thorns. Could understand why the thorns are not there in the very high or rich rainfall areas? No need to consume the water. Let the water goes. Even though the water goes from the plant, which is called as transpiration, enough water is available in the soil. Therefore, what is the limiting factor? Availability of the water is the limiting factor in turning the leaf into thorn. Now there is a problem. See the problem. Understand the beauty of the nature. The nature is such a beautiful thing. Which part of the plant is green? Which part of the plant is green? Leaves, right? All other plants like stem, branches, everything is brown in color. Which part of the plant is green? It is the leaves. Because of presence of very important material called as chlorophyll. What is the duty of the chlorophyll? Chlorophyll is the one which will be trapping the heat energy, nothing but the photo energy from the sun, and converts the photo energies into chemical energy. This is the duty of the chlorophyll, and the energy is being supplied to all parts of the body. Now what happened in this case? Because of lack of water, in order to save the water, what happened? The leaf got twisted into the thorn, where the chlorophyll got trapped within the leaf. Then who will be preparing the food? Who will have to prepare the food? In our house, your mummy will be preparing the food. Now your mummy wants to go out somewhere, maybe to the kitty party, right? Whenever she wants to go, she will be giving some responsibility to someone. She will be asking you, come on beta, come on beti, prepare food. This is what the mummy will be giving the what is called responsibility to someone. Who is that part which is taking the responsibility? The beauty of the nature. Again, see this one. The moment when the leaf is twisting, when the leaf is about to twist, the responsibility of preparing the food material will be given to the stem. The chlorophyll will get transported to the stem. That is the reason all the species in the xerophytic vegetation. What is xerophytic? Those vegetation which are having thorns on the spines. Where do you find? Desert. Where do you find? Semi-deserts. Whatever the xerophytic vegetation you are seeing, all the stems of the xerophytic vegetation are green in color. Have you ever seen those stems? If at all you are breaking, some white color, milk-like material will be coming out. What is that one? That is a stem. Have you ever seen the so-called aloe vera? What is that entire part of the aloe vera? Is it a leaf or what? The stem. On the ridges, you can find the leaves in the form of a small spine-like conditions. Could you, have you ever heard, what is called, press that stem part? Very, very spongy, waxy in nature. Got the point? Nowadays, earlier days, what the people used to do, they used to take the aloe vera and we used to apply on the face. Okay? Zawan is in the bath. This is what the people used to apply. Nowadays, what these people are doing, do you know this one? They are directly consuming the aloe vera. Why? When the concept was asked to these people, why are you consuming aloe vera? Now the concept of new concept. Applying the aloe vera on the surface is the old concept. Consumption of aloe vera is a new concept. Andar se nahana. This is the concept. The people are, you consuming the aloe vera. What is aloe vera? Again, this is the product. See the limiting factor. What is the limiting factor here? What is the limiting factor in conversion of the leaf into the thorn? Availability of the water. Now the question. Now you need to give the answer. Come on. Now you need to give the answer. Get ready, all the online students. Come on. I am going to ask the question. Very good. Yes. Leaves cause maximum transport. Very good. Very good. Water containing species. But rose also have spines. Okay. Leaves, stem. I am talking about the xerophytic vegetation. Okay. I am talking about the xerophytic vegetation. What is xerophytic vegetation? That vegetation which is found in the areas where the evaporation is more than precipitation. Fine? Now, understand this one. Now the question. What I have explained till now, the limiting factor in the case of deserts and the semi-desert areas, where the leaves are getting converted into spines and the thorns, is because of availability of the water. What is the limiting factor? Availability of the water. Now, wherever there is a heavy to heavy rainfall, like equatorial region, where the rainfall is too high, the leaves are broad in size. Have you ever heard the name of the vegetation as broadleaf vegetation? Now the question is, why the leaves are broad? To increase the transpiration. Then sunlight. What is the limiting factor? Give me one answer. Don't talk about maximum loss of the water. Never, don't, sir, I am having so much of money, sir, let me spend all the money, 10 crores in 10 days. No, this is not the concept. Never talk about the excess wastage of the material. What is the limiting factor? Why the leaves are turning broad in size? The limiting factor here is sunlight. Very good. Someone has given an answer like, sunlight. What is the limiting factor? Now see the limiting factor that is present in the limiting factor in the equatorial region. The equatorial regions are having the broadleaf vegetation. Broadleaf vegetation. What do you mean by broadleaf? If it is a leaf, the leaf is so broad like this. The leaf is so broad like this. This is the leaf. Against the small size of the leaf, the leaves are so broad. In the entire equatorial region, you can find the broadleaf vegetation. Now, why the leaf is broad? This is the equatorial area where the trees are like this. The trees are like this. When the trees are having rich canopy, the sun rays falls on this canopy and never the sun rays enters onto the land. Literally, there is no availability of the sunlight in the lower reaches, because sunlight is being blocked by the rich canopy of the equatorial vegetation. Whenever the sun rays are not reaching the earth's surface, the species that are present here, they are expanding their size of the leaf. They are expanding the size of their leaf like this, the broad leaf. At least one ray or other ray of the sun, if it escapes through the canopy, it will be falling here. In order to receive more and more sunlight, the leaf will be made broader. What is the limiting factor in case of broadleaf vegetation? It is sunlight. See, these are the ones which are very basics for the ecology. The questions right now, there is a shift in the UPSC pattern. Earlier the questions were asked on the application oriented. Now the shift has happened from the application to the basics. They are hitting the very basic knowledge of you people in the ecology. Such type of questions can be there. Is it okay? To observe the sunlight, to observe sunlight where the sunlight is not. Someone is asking, sir, sunlight is abundant, sir. Why the sunlight is a limiting factor? This is what someone has asked the question. See this one. Though sunlight is abundant, but for some species, the sunlight is not available because they are under the shadow of some other larger trees. Here in this area, all you can find the epiphytic varieties, the so-called creeping varieties of the species. They will be going to the top of the canopy. They will be immediately reaching to the top of the canopy. Why? Because in want of sunlight. Because sunlight is the one which is a basic factor for the chemical energy. Photo. What is required for the plant? Photo energy. Whenever the photo energy is not there, there is no question of food preparation. These are the concepts of limiting factor. Very, very important limiting factors. This is what the limiting factor. Clear? This is about the limiting factor. Limiting factors are the factors that affect the population size of a species in a specific environment. Write on this one. Come on, definition of the limiting factor. Very, very important. What is a limiting factor? The limiting factors are factors that affect the population size. Who will be deciding the population size? It is the limiting factor. Who will be deciding the population size? It is a limiting factor. It's not just for abiotic, even for the biotic. They can be, the limiting factors can be biotic or abiotic. Fine? Is it okay? Then the last one, called as carrying capacity. Oh, it's already 8. Okay, this is about the limiting factor. Give the next heading as carrying capacity. This we'll see in the next class. Give the heading as carrying capacity. Very, very important. In fact, in one of the UPSC exam mains, the question was asked, the carrying capacity of Western Himalayas has reached. The Western Himalayas have reached the carrying capacity, and so more and more disasters are happening. What do you mean by carrying capacity? If you don't know the concept of carrying capacity, you are unable to write that particular question in the mains part. Very, very important concept called as the carrying capacity. This we will be seeing in the next class. Is it okay? Could you understand the basic points that are related to the ecology and environment? First, we talked about the difference between the ecology and environment, then came to the basic concepts after understanding the significance of environment. Clear? This is how we will be moving ahead, and after the basic concepts, we will enter into the main concept of ecosystem. What are the different ecosystems? What do you mean by the food chain, food web, how the food pyramid forms? What are the biogeochemicals? All they will be discussed. Fine? This is about the introduction to the ecology. If any doubts are there, you come up with the doubts. In the next class, we'll take up the doubts first of all, and then we'll continue the class. Fine? Until then, take care. See you. Happy Diwali, everyone. Enjoy the day. Enjoy Diwali like anything, and come back so that we'll be continuing the ecological concepts again. Fine? Take care. See you. Bye-bye. I will be uploading the handouts, not right now. After the completion of entire ecology concept, I will upload. Okay?